Welcome back, everyone, to Drop Frames 2017 Game of the Year show. Co, I don't know why we're so close to. I'm moving me away. No. No. Oh my God.
It's itmeJP.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Sure, I'll just be.
I'm just gonna reach in your ass here and grab a water. There we go.
I'm going.
It's like
to
the
other
sloth
screen.
from Paradigm with water.
We're going to the top 10 screen. All right, here we go.
Oh, JP, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Are you doing? Because Co and I were talking that we hope you're not doing the same thing we did last year, where like if I have a number 8 game and it's Co's number 1, they're revealed at the same time.
No, I can't do that. Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go through one by one. Yeah, we got 2 hours.
Perfect.
To
Perfect.
go. And I guess I'll start. This is one of those games that I wish I could have finished in 2017, but I'm glad to say it wasn't my fault that I couldn't finish. I just didn't want to get fucking banned on Twitch. That should be a pretty big telegame. Okay, I was gonna fix it. This is the last one to fix. You
got it? Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it yourself. This is the last one.
Okay. I'll put it back to where it was. Okay.
Yeah, for me, this game, I didn't want to get banned on Twitch. I absolutely love what I played. I think it speaks a lot to say that I only played 17 hours of a fucking 120 plus hour game, that it made it on the top 10. And I felt bad that I couldn't play more of it, but I wasn't going to play it off stream. So I'm going to press this button. I hope it works. Yep, there it is. Persona 5. My
Persona
10th.
5.
Yeah. We should also start. I should have said this before we actually began. We said at the start of the show, our list has some certain criteria to it. That is, it had to have come out in 2017. There's no early access games. There's no games, same as beta, no early access / beta. It cannot be an expansion, and it cannot be an update to an already existing game. So that means no Path of Exile. There's no Path of Exile in here. There's
No XCOM 2.
No XCOM 2, no Darkest Dungeon, no Final Fantasy 14, Stormblood. I don't know what else there would be, but yeah, there's stuff that people would expect to be here, but it won't. And the reason that the text is so small is because we have to list 10 games there. So, and we also have to be on the camera. But anyways, that's Persona 5, my 10th best game of the year. So,
And you never picked it up, did you, Co?
yeah, Co hasn't tried
I
it
have
yet.
not done Persona 5. I am thanks to this show and the recommendations. I was not planning on it, but I will most likely be trying Persona 5 in January. So I'll be able to talk about it, but unfortunately it's not going to be part of my top 10. Another game like that is also Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Which, even though I've played 15 hours, I do feel I at least need to beat a game before I put it in my top 10. So, yeah.
All right, Co, what's your number 10?
Okay, so my 10th game of the year, I decided to try this game. I honestly entered it not expecting much. In fact, I was kind of at the end of my rope with the franchise. And sure enough, although it was not the best game, it certainly, in my eyes, to put it bluntly, revived the franchise. I am to the point where I am looking forward and expecting, and I'm looking forward with expectations to the next episode. And that is Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yep, makes sense.
I got to admit, this game really came out of nowhere. I planned on playing it for a couple hours and basically doing what I did with Far Cry Primal. I planned on doing it for a couple hours and going, oh, this is pretty much what I've done every time before this. I'm not really having fun. Put it down and never pick it back up. I thought that was going to happen. What ended up happening is I found a semi-open world experience with a very interesting inventory and new combat system, a pretty engaging main character, and some really cool side quests that's kind of my jam. Tie that into the fact that the main quest requires side questing, the fact that it took me 30 plus hours to beat it. I got to admit, man, AC is back in my mind. I haven't had that much fun in an AC game since Black Flag. It actually took the place of Black Flag as my favorite AC game, and looking forward to the next one.
Makes sense.
I played a little bit of it offline. I want to say around 10, 12 hours offline. And just like Zelda, man, it didn't hook me in like immeditely for some reason.
It did.
And I can't really for this one. I couldn't really put my finger on why. It just didn't have. It was missing something that really would light my passion for it.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
a lot of the concerns of that game was it took a little while to ramp up to really get like the game started. But what were we gonna say?
And one quick note before we move on from it, this was the only game this year that I'd recently had my son, and there was a particular quest in the game. I can count the times on one hand that I've seen something on my screen that made me put a physical pit in my stomach, where I watched it and I was just like, not okay. And I had one of those moments in ACO. And credit where it's due. Like, there's not a lot of games when a game impacts you on that level, it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And ACO did that. So
yep, I know exactly what quest you're talking about for sure.
Yeah.
And for those of you saying 10 hours is not enough to get hooked on a game, then you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think
that's called the college try.
Yeah.
If you're playing a game, I would say if you're playing a game, I'd say 6 hours. Like, give a game 6 hours. If it hasn't hooked you by then you can say it didn't hook me.
Yeah. Zeke's 10 hours is equivalent to my 30 minutes. Zeke gave it the fucking try, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Zeke, what's your number 10 game of the year?
My number 10 game is probably not a lot of people played it or seen it or whatever, or see it coming. It's an indie game that came out in July that had an artistic and atmospheric effect on me. My number 10 game is called Black the Fall.
I remember you talking
Black
about
the Fall is a little indie game. It has a sort of, remember the game Inside?
Yes.
It kind of plays like that, but the story kind of unfolds that it's about something deeper, something like about, I want to say it's about communism, and it's about, takes place in Romania, right? And it's about the fall of communism in Romania.
Dude, did we talk about this game on Drop Frames?
Yeah,
Yes.
we did.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the emotional impact was such minimal. It's a minimalistic style, but the gameplay was solid. But that's not what really hooks you. It's the emotional like attachment and feeling you get from the scenery, from the sound design and all that kind of stuff. It just left an impact on me. It was one of those games that I thought about afterwards, that I felt like I needed to talk about, like Inside, like a game like Limbo or something like that. That's sort of similar, and it relies heavily on symbolism. And it really like got to me, and I enjoyed it. It's like 6 hours, a short game, 6 hour game, but I mean, look at this. It has the symbolism of the common person is just another cog in the machine.
Right.
So, Zeke, I know you played the game, but who are we watching right now? Who is this?
Oh, naked fat face Zeke.
That's Zeke's younger brother.
Well, it's you.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
That's why I don't shave a lot.
Yeah.
Because you can totally see the gobble neck that I got going.
To me, it says a lot about.
Now you know why I never shave.
To me, this game seems like the complete opposite from what I would enjoy, because we've watched almost 5 minutes of it, and you've moved about 3 times. So like I would not
high action for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not.
This
my
game
type
looks
of game.
very much like. Oh, now what is this mechanic? So there's more mechanics than just running back and forth like in the other games.
Yes, you have to get him to switch bikes with you so he can move up.
Oh, okay.
And you're trying to get out of this factory type of thing. You're trying to escape. That's your whole motive, is escape. You have basically woken up. You're the one person that's still a person. Everybody else is like, I'm here, I'm doing my job. This is my job. And you're the one person that went, I have individual, like it feels like you're the person that goes, I'm an individual. I need to get out of here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, that's your number 10. What about your number 9, good sir?
You're gonna go back. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
my
go
number
back and
9.
forth.
My number 9. I didn't play on stream, and I'm sorry that I don't have a clip of me actually playing it on stream.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this game, and I also like. no spoiling. The ending was just made me go, oh. My number 9 game, Prey. I really had a good time playing Prey. I like. It's not really innovative in its kind of the story is not super innovative, not really new, but the way they handled like the mimics and that kind of thing, and the way they handled some of the mechanics of the game, like when you kind of look through the glass and you see like something that happened in the past, and it helps you discover what you need to move forward now. That was a cool mechanic. The voice acting was fucking awesome. And just like I said, the ending was pretty fucking cool, man. Pretty fucking like, you're like, this is a good game. This is a good game. And then you get to the end, you're like, oh man.
Another game I didn't play was Prey this year, but for whatever reason, I remember clicking on, I think it was Co's stream. It might have been someone else's playthrough, but I want to say it was Co's. I clicked on your stream, and it was the ending that Zeke is referencing 100% occurring before me. And I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. And then I just like, because Co was freaking the fuck out. I was just like, huh, all right. Anyways, let's move on.
Funny enough.
And then also,
I have to say, go ahead, Zeke.
It fed a want for, it filled a lot of BioShock hole, like for me.
I get that.
Like it had very BioShocky type elements to it. And I was like, oh, remember BioShock? Remember how great that was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember how
I
much you
remember.
love that?
It was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was like, it's like a heroin addict getting what's that stuff that they do to wean you off of it?
I know what you're talking. I don't know the word that you're looking for, but
Methadone.
yeah,
It's like getting methadone when you really want heroin.
makes sense. Yeah, I think we had. I remember talking to Gassy, Mexican, about that show, or about that game on the show when it came out, and everyone was super into it. But it's not my type of game, unless it is going to be like the BioShock of importance. But I feel like it was a poor man's BioShock for sure. It's a good way. Not to say it's bad. It's just a poor man's BioShock, which is still a good game for a lot of people, but not for me. So
Yeah.
I get it. Co, you're number 9.
Okay, my number 9. Now, this was a great game, in my opinion. I played it beginning to end, but this game was the first game, and this is why it's on my list. This is the first game that I played it beginning to end, and I said, oh, I get it. This is why this technology is awesome. And that game was Resident Evil 7. And I have to admit, I played the entire game in VR. And there were moments in Resident Evil 7 that I have never had in a video game prior, in terms of triggering the visceral fight or flight emotions in my brain, the feeling of when something jumps right in front of your face and it feels like it's right in front of your face. You're not looking at it through a glowing square in front of you. You think it's right in front of you.
Right.
And I got to admit, I was a little bit tentative when I started this. I was kind of like, I don't think it'll really scare me. Like, I don't know how involved I'm going to get. I mean, it's kind of pixelated when I played the demo. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really kind of like, to get immersed in this world. But sure enough, man, 6 hours in, and I mean, it stressed me out. Playing this game stressed me out. And I have played hundreds of horror games in my lifetime. Playing this in VR was the first time that I actually caught myself multiple times breathing more shallow. Is the word shallowy a word? Like I had shallow breathing. Like I would sit there like when I'd be running from something, and I'd be looking behind me, like checking to see. It was really, really cool. And I have to admit, I'm kind of sad because I feel like Resident Evil 7 came out and it was a real awesome 14 plus hour game in VR. And I almost don't feel like there's been something like it since. I don't feel like there's been like yeah, Fallout 4 and stuff is here now in Skyrim, but it's like we've played that 100 times, I don't think there's been like a really good VR game since this one.
Yeah.
And I really hope that looking back, we kind of look at Resident Evil 7 and we're kind of like, they got it early. Like these devs got what VR is. They got how to put it in a game. They got how to integrate it. Like, this is how to do it. So I hope more companies use this moving forward, because I got to admit, man, there's very little similar to playing a good horror game in VR. It is like this part here. No, when you're trying to hobble away from this guy and you hear him behind you getting closer and closer, and you're sitting there like, please move faster, you know, like yeah.
Welcome to the family, son.
Yeah. I happened to pick this point of the VOD. It's pure random, but this is like one of the more talked about portions of Resident Evil 7 VR. And I think I watched Zeke play this. I watched you play this. I watched Max play this. I watched a lot of different streamers play this game, almost full playthroughs, which I think says a lot, just how, one, fun it is to play. I didn't play it, but two, how fun it is to watch. And it also says a lot that this is one of those games that it's kind of like the holy grail of Nope for me, where it's going to, like, I've thought about, there was at least two moments.
Put that on the fucking box.
Yeah. There was two moments this year where I almost publicly made a bet with Zeke about something. And if I had lost the bet, I would have had to play this game. But the fear of having to play this game kept me from making those bets, even though I was pretty sure I would win both bets. So, dude, it's going to take a lot.
Horror games do not affect me normally. Normally, horror games are funny and entertaining. This game had me scared at times. I can only imagine what this game would be like to play in VR for somebody that doesn't have a good time in normal horror games. Like, it would be... Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you hear. What's that therapy where they throw your worst fear at you?
Right,
like
right.
That is this game for horror games. Like, pretty much.
Yeah, aversion therapy. Yeah.
Something like that.
There you go. This is aversion therapy to people who don't like horror games.
Without a doubt. Yeah. It. I don't know. One day I think I will play this. I just don't know what will be the cause of that. And now that in 2018 that I'm going to be living with someone else, that fear is amplified, because the idea of someone fucking with me while playing this is just like 10 times worse, 20 times worse.
Lena did that to me once.
Yeah. Only once?
Once. And we had a talk after that.
It makes sense.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I tell you.
You had to use serious voice.
Yeah. Anyways, that
I'd use her full name, you know?
Yeah. Renamed, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. That's
I know we joke a lot, but this is serious.
It's a fun game to watch for sure. All right. What are we on right now? I guess mine. Another VR game.
Number 9.
Yeah. Another VR game. Of all the games that I talked with Zeke kind of how I did this. I pulled up a giant list of all the games that came out in 2017. Picked from that list of games that were memorable, put those in another list, and then kind of numbered them out. And for me, it's kind of everything I've already said. It was my multiplayer game of the year. It's Star Trek Bridge Crew, without a doubt.
Good choice.
I think it says a lot. You kind of hit the nail on the head, Co. For games that did it right and did it first, I think Bridge Crew is one of the ones that shipped a game that wasn't early access, shipped a game that fulfilled 100% on what it set out to do, and shipped a game that was just a fucking blast to play through and through. I had a great time. Some of those moments from that, I was a little bit pissed off when I was watching like the clips of the year or whatever, because I was expecting to see some Bridge Crew moments in there, and there was none. So then I sought them out afterwards because I had so much fun with the different things. It's a game that just by putting a VR headset on forces you to be in that world and be in that role with 3 other people who are doing the same exact thing. And I've never seen at least someone stream that game that didn't do exactly what we did. Like you just fall into those roles because they created such a, I hate using this word because it's such a stupid buzzword, but you feel fully immersed in that, as VR games should, in the whole world of Star Trek. So that was my number 9. I had a fucking blast with it. I pray and hope that there is DLC for that game because I would love to jump back in, or something similar to that game.
I have to admit, I missed the bus. My stream team, New Game Plus, actually did a team event where they went in there, and the people that did it just had an awesome time. And I really wish I had done that because that was the only opportunity I would have had to play it. So if you're wondering why you don't see Star Trek Bridge Crew on mine at all, like I didn't get a chance to play it, but I've heard nothing but amazing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Zeke would echo kind of everything I said there. It was a blast.
It just I'll just tell you, it barely missed my top 10.
Yeah. This
For
is
sure.
us
Just sheer amount of fucking fun. And you're like, how is this gonna work? Like I wonder if, and then about 10 minutes and you're just going, Mr. Moogle, can you please do this? Mr. Scoots, I need this. And like you just fall into the role.
Yeah.
And people call you sir. It's great.
Right.
Captain.
Yeah. Even this stuff right here, just sitting at the I don't even know the lobby to get everyone to join in was just super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would try to revisit this if you can in some fashion. I don't know when the next time you'll be around people that have 3 headsets that can jump into the game, but it's worth it for sure.
I'm hoping that we're going to see more and more VR as the years go on. Like
we're seeing
I
a
hope it'll
resurgence
become
right
at
now.
one point mainstream. Yeah, it's just not there yet.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit before.
VR chat's kind of making it popular a little bit again on Twitch, and I'm hoping
On Twitch. Yeah, the thing is though, we need VR to be easily accessible to the masses.
Sure.
Right now, it's still enthusiast. We need the next PlayStation to come with a VR headset, regardless if you want it to or not. That's the kind of thing we need to see.
I think
until it's even going to be. Yeah. Anyway,
I think I saw
that's a discussion for another show.
Yeah, I think I saw somewhere that PSVR shipped 2 million units or something in 2017. So like, people are getting them. Like there's a large number of headsets out there for sure. It's going to take a couple of years though to fully adopt that into the world, and I'm hoping that more and more games will continue to throw in VR aspects. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show that we've had multiple times. Let's jump. I'll do my number 8 because we're back at the top. For me, it's a game once again I have not finished. I want to jump back into it, but Path of Exile has been kind of tugging at me recently. We talked about this at the start of the show. In terms of like, I didn't expect this game to. I didn't expect to enjoy this game as much as I did / have, and it is fully. Do what?
I think I might know what it is.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
It is a. I think by this next statement, you either know or you don't. It is in the purest form of JRPG that I know of, and I can't wait to get back to it. I just haven't yet because PoE is a fucking hell of a drug to kick. It's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's such a long game, and it takes a long time for me to finish games that I haven't finished it yet. And I can't wait till Ko gets further in that game so that I can have conversations with him about things that happen in it. Because it is the full-on anime game of, big things happen, people change, things change, and I want to have that conversation with Ko just like I had with Bike Man. Because it has some.
What's going to be fun, JP, is I'm doing like 2 to 4 hours a day.
I know.
So this conversation we're going to have is going to take place over the next 5 to 9 drop frames episodes.
look, man, Path of Exile is hard to kick, so I probably won't finish it. I did either.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
So we'll see. But yeah, that was my number 8 of the year. And I think the other big thing about that maybe we haven't talked too much about for Xenoblade. The music in Xenoblade, it was my number 3 best music of the year. It is from the other mess that was not the first Xenoblade, but Xenoblade Chronicles X. It is like night and day is not a good enough polar opposite to say how fucking much of a switch it is. For
Wait, this was the game that you guys were talking about before, the previous edition of this game? Talking about the music, how bad it was?
4.
Yeah. I don't know if it was necessarily. It's unfair to say the previous edition, but the game that shared
They're
the same name.
Different takes on the same universe.
Yeah.
So there's Xenoblade Chronicles X, and then there's Xenoblade Chronicles without the X, and that's the one that JP did. Yeah, I know. It's crazy confusing.
Yeah,
but
it's full JRPG. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's super fun. I can't wait to. I'm hoping by the time I finish that game. I might look back on this list and put it up higher, but we'll see how the game wraps up. So, Ko, what was your number 8?
All right, my number 8 made my list because it's a phenomenal game that came out of nowhere that I had a huge amount of fun with, and when I was done with this game, all I could say is 2 things. One, the people that made this game need to make about 15 more of these over the next decade. And 2, the world needs more games like this.
Huh.
And that game is Thimbleweed Park. I absolutely loved it. I grew up on LucasArts adventure games, and playing Thimbleweed Park was not only an homage that I had a great time with, but it was an extremely well-made game. It was funny. It was entertaining. I had fun from beginning to end. And when I finished it, all I could think of is, he better keep making these games. Like there's nothing else like them. They're just thinking games you can play with your chat, you know, especially if you play them when they come out. Chat has no idea what the right answers are, so you're all kind of puzzling through it together. You're all suggesting things. It's like a giant just community working their way through these at sometimes very complex puzzles. And I loved it. I had a great time streaming it, and like I said, I can't wait to stream more games like this. It was a blast from beginning to end. Also did some very creative game mechanic stuff.
I couldn't agree more. I played through this one myself. I had a blast with it. It was so much fun. It had so much cool recall, like of the old LucasArts and the mucus phlegm. Is Lucasfilm mucus phlegm. Like they had lots of like cool puns that related to the old point and click LucasArts games. It was I had such a good time, and it actually kind of sort of relates to my number 8 as well.
Oh, all right. I never touched this game. I think you guys talked about this game a decent amount on Drop.
It's a niche.
Yeah.
It's a niche. Like there's this is a game that was made for a very specific group of people, and the people that like this game absolutely love it. The people that don't play this game have no idea why we like it, and that's okay. That's totally fine. But I think a lot of the old timers, the older folks that played like Indiana Jones, Monkey Island, The Dig, you know, those types of games, they're gonna look at this and be like, oh, this is my home. This is my childhood. So to have that on top of a well-made experience that can stand on its own legs was so refreshing. You know, I would have liked this game if it wasn't even a great game, just because it was an homage. But it ended up being one of my favorite adventure games of this kind, which blew me away. So yeah, it was good.
Cool.
Yeah. And the ability to switch between the pixelated and more defined graphics was a really cool option as well.
Oh, I didn't know they had that. That's cool.
Was that in Thimbleweed? I know that was in the LucasArts Adventures, but I don't know if that was in Thimble. Was it?
Oh, I thought it was in Thimbleweed. Oh, maybe I was wrong.
Oh, maybe you're right. I don't remember.
I know it was in like the last year.
The Island and those games you could switch between them, like Day of the Tentacle and all that stuff. I didn't know if that was in Thimbleweed. Maybe it was though. I just
maybe
forgot.
It wasn't. I don't know.
I have a really bad memory, so probably I'm gonna trust you over me. So let's do that.
It's not in Thimbleweed. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. My bad. Fake news.
Zeke, you're number 8. It's time.
My number 8, another point and click game, and I picked it up and I went, "The fuck is this? This is awesome!"
Please tell me it starts with a P.
My number 8 game, Paradigm.
Thank you, Zeke. I was so worried it wasn't going to get mentioned. Oh,
no, Paradigm was fucking fantastic. It was ludicrous, absurd, funny, fun. It hit so many different notes for me personally. I love it when games take chances. This game took a ton of chances. It's a point and click at heart. At the base game, it's a point and click.
You weren't kidding. What the fuck is this game? Go ahead.
Oh, man. The fat beatsies, man. The fat beatsies. The rapping fridge. Yes. The fucking sloth with the goddamn Trump wig on.
That vomits candy.
Okay.
Vomits candy. Oh, my God. Hey, so many good things about this game. So many laughs. So many what the fucks. And you really like the main character because he seems just like a really nice guy with a fucking huge like tumors all over his head.
God, this game sounds like a fever dream.
The rapping plant was it a plant? Eggplant, rapping eggplant, I think.
This game is an equation. It's Thimbleweed Park plus better graphics plus acid. No, you think I'm kidding? Not.
No,
like, it's an adventure game. Like if you are on drugs, it's fantastic. What's crazy though?
Shit.
It's an adventure game like you're on drugs, but it all actually somehow connects and makes sense. That's the part that blew me away about this game. Yeah. But Zeke, you finished this whole thing, right? What did you think about like the whole process of it?
It was great. Like around every corner, you just don't know what to expect. You really have no idea what to expect because in a game that relies on being sort of absurd or nonsensical, non sequitur, it keeps you excited because you're like, what the fuck is this gonna be? Like, is it is it gonna be a superhero that is like a superhero of traffic cones? Like, how could you predict that?
Yeah. This game looks
the
wild.
10,000 clicks. Yes, I did 10,000 clicks.
Oh, was that an
there
achievement?
was a barrier that you can get past. There's a barrier you can get past by clicking the mouse 10,000 times. And it took me, how long? Was it like 40 minutes?
Holy shit.
And I just sat there clicking and talking. Like, you could get a click program. It's like, that is not the way you're supposed to do it.
Clearly, you haven't seen this show.
So just click.
Good Lord.
It was great. It was great.
Is this, for people that I think might be hearing about this for the first time, is this PC only? Does it come out on any platforms? Do you know? Do I need to look
I have
it
no
up?
idea. I know I got it on Steam.
Okay.
Yeah, it is definitely PC, and currently it is a fantastic. If you're an adventure game fan, get it. It's $15. It is at least what, Zeke, 10 hours, 8 or 10 hours. Like it takes a little bit of time, and some of the puzzles are not super easy. Like you don't always know exactly what you're doing. Took me 6 hours. So
yeah, I did it in little under 11.
sounds about right. It's a great game.
Is that someone's butt?
Yes.
All right. We showed too much.
You just come to
Spoilers.
accept things like that.
Yeah, we've gone too far.
You emerge from his butt cheeks, and there's a tiny little launching pad.
I don't understand. But
There's so many things. Dude, that game generates an incredible amount of memes for your channel. Like after you play that game, there's so many things that you'll start seeing in your chat, like come back over and over. People to this day, I played this game, 4, 5, 6 months ago? To this day, there are people that still do the yes. Like specifically referencing Paradigm. Yes.
Jesus.
I still do
Oh,
it.
fat beatsies was a thing.
Oh, fat beatsies?
Yeah. I'd have those fat beatsies.
Good memes. All right.
But yeah, Paradigm, if you like point and clicks and you don't mind absurdity and ridiculousness, can't recommend it enough.
Zeke, you're number 7.
My number 7, this fucking game, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. It seems like this. And then I picked it up and I played it and I went, this is fucking fun. This is just straight up fun. My number 7 game, Mario plus Rabbids. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I looked at it like everybody else did and went, oh, Mario's going XCOM.
Yep.
Once you get that out of your head, that you don't have to play it like XCOM. You don't have to super strategize. When you lose a battle, you can go back and do the battle again. You don't, like, if you get to the end of the mission and one person's hurt, they come back, they're fine. You can play it gung-ho. Like, once I realized, like, you can just go fucking all out if you want to. Cover and strategy is not as important. It's still semi-important, but it's not as important as it is in XCOM. You don't need to take as much time as you did with XCOM. It was so much fun. The mechanics, I love the Rabbids. The Rabbids' sense of humor are great. And it was fun. I played through the entire thing, which I didn't expect because it's cartoony, and I don't find myself attracted to cartooniness. Yeah, I beat it.
Yeah, I remember him saying he beat it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I beat it, and it was so much fun. And I actually played it on like trips on airplanes and stuff. I did that, like I would do challenges, like the challenge stuff. There's a lot to the game, and it's a fucking blast. It's a really fun game, and the customizability of the weapons and the abilities and stuff like that. The ability to like wipe all of your abilities and reallocate points once you learn how the game kind of works is fantastic. And the Rabbids are fucking funny. They make me laugh.
I was trying for the past entire time we were talking, I was trying to figure out why I stopped playing this game because I agree with everything that you said. And then I remembered after I searched out when it came out, it was the same day that War of the Chosen came out. And that's why I didn't play it, because War of the Chosen.
That's what I played.
Yeah, War of the Chosen grabbed me much. It sucks that they came out the same day. That was such a weird thing.
And what was even worse is War of the Chosen surpassed pretty much everyone's expectations. So all these people that were like, oh, I'm going to play War of the Chosen and then play Rabbids, like me, ended up playing War of the Chosen for like 2 weeks straight, right into other releases.
Yep.
So
that's really shitty.
That's another
releasing.
one right on my radar.
Yeah. I never went. Zeke, you said you played on airplanes. Like, do you think I should go back and revisit it as someone who has a Switch and will be flying soon? Should I go back and jump back into some Rabbids? I'd only be in the first boss.
If you're not feeling the pull of it, if it didn't like draw you in and make you want to finish it, then I don't know. Probably not.
So it's not like a Xenoblade Chronicles where it's like keep playing, it gets better and better. Like you didn't get that feeling from it?
No, I like once I beat the game, I went back and played like some of the challenges for a couple of hours, and then I haven't picked it up since. It felt like a good, solid, complete. Like when I was done with it, I was like, that was a lot of fun. That was a blast to play.
All right. Cool. You're number 7.
Okay, now kind of like Thimbleweed Park, my number 7 kind of came out of nowhere. And I have to say that one of the reasons this game made the list was because the gameplay was incredibly unique. I played this game when it was in early access a while back, and it kind of caught my interest. But when I played it on release, I was hooked. I streamed this game nonstop from beginning to end, which I did not expect to do. And I have to admit that not only did it come out of nowhere, but it put a new dev on my radar in terms of things that they are able to do. And that game was a top-down horror game called Darkwood. And Darkwood, man, I have to admit, I still feel like there's people today that this went under their radar. Darkwood is an experience. I mean, I did not think that a top-down game could get me feeling the anticipation and the kind of just connection to the game world that this game did. It ended up being a horror game, a survival game, a massive inventory management game. It turned out having a main story that I had to follow through. The world is procedurally generated, so you can play it a bunch of different ways. Huge variety of ways you could go about it. There was no like planned path to play it. You kind of had to feel it out yourself. And I had a great time in this game. A great time. And again, the thing that I really keep coming back to is the fact of how unique it is. There is no other game I can really kind of compare this to. If you said, hey, I really like Darkwood, what else would I like? I have no idea. I have no idea. Because this game is like, it's pretty singular in terms of what it is. If you have not heard of this game and you like top-down games, especially if you like top-down games and horror games, I very much recommend checking it out. There's also some kind of sci-fi, like mutant aspect. There's this world that you never really figure out what's going on in, but you get hints. There's characters that are very iconic that are like nothing I've seen in other games. There's some real messed up parts. There's sad parts. There's horrific parts. And it just keeps going until the very end. And even the ending, you're just sitting there like, what is going on? Like it gets wild. So yeah, my 7th game was Darkwood, and I loved it. It's one of those games that I definitely recommend to people. If you're looking for something off the beaten path, go to Steam and search for Darkwood and have some fun.
This is one of those games. I've owned this game, I want to say, for at least 2 months. And it's always the second game. It's like, I'm going to play this, and then Darkwood's coming. I'm going to play this, and then Darkwood. And then that just kept happening over and over again.
That's my Hollow Knight, buddy. I feel you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I know about this game is because of Dan's Gaming. Because Dan's Gaming was on the front page of Twitch for I forgot what it was, for sponsored content that wasn't a game, but it was for something else. And it was something that was lighthearted and cheery. And he was playing this game. And I was like, what the why are you playing this game on the front page? It's terrifying.
This game is depressing, dark, and it's like it's just further down the downward spiral. It's like it never really gets better.
I wish funny. I could remember what he was. It might have been for
probably pizza rolls or something.
It might have been for Tostitos, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I remember that I was like, Jesus, this is a fucking stark contrast to what he's on the front page for. Because he was doing the thing that I think you kind of mentioned, where you like rest at night and you have to sit there and just wait and listen to all the noises and stuff. And that's what was happening. Is had like a Tostinos ad right next to it, and it was really, really stark. But yeah, I know Zeke. Did you say you're going to play this, or you just don't know when you're going to play this? You want to, but
I don't know when I'm going to play it. I've owned it for months, but it's always been on the like the second game after the next game.
Well, maybe Persona. Maybe when you finish Persona, you get this.
Maybe I'll play them both at the same time. Maybe I'll play a little Persona in the morning, a little Darkwood at night.
There you go. You never know. All right. It is my turn for my number 7. It's one of the games we've already talked about, so I won't spend too long on it. But I will echo what was said about it. Only slightly, though, because I feel like the game prior to the one that I'm going to mention is my number 7 game. I had a lot of fun with, and I was very excited to see where they were going to go. I was a little bit reluctant when they said that this was the dev team behind Black Flag, because I enjoy Black Flag, but it was kind of a departure from the normal Assassin's Creed. But then Origins came out, and I feel a little bit sleazy because my first stream of this was actually a sponsored stream. So I didn't plan on completely finishing it. And then I started playing, and the story was good. And then stabbing guys was fun. And then there was a loot element tied into the game where I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to be finishing this game. And it actually says a lot for me personally to go back and play this game off stream to finish quest in the game. That is something I do not do, and I have not done for a very long time. And I think a lot of that was also because of the loot element in it. So I absolutely loved Assassin's Creed Origins. I think the story, we've mentioned it multiple times on Drop Frames. There's a part towards the end of the game where something happens and it's kind of revealed why something is the way it is in the world of Assassin's Creed. And when that happens, I watched Ko's clip of it, and I remember myself both going, oh, fuck, that's that thing. It makes sense. I understand now why that is.
Dude, it was a hands-on head moment.
Yeah.
It was one of the...
It was, yes. I was the exact same way.
Like, that's why!
Yeah.
Oh my God! Have they known this from the beginning? Yeah. What?
It was really cool to have that. And some of the side quests in that game are like right there with the main story quest in terms of how good they are.
Right there with Witcher 3 side quests.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Few of them that are extremely well done.
And even the quest that you mentioned in the main quest, talking about how you just had your kid, how it impacted you. That quest specifically has like quests that further the story even more so, that are even a little bit more fucked up and maybe even more tugging at the heartstrings. So I really cannot wait to see where they go with Assassin's Creed next, both in setting and just how they what they do with the game. Because you kind of told
it's become more gritty.
Yeah, it had some I don't want to say dark, but it was almost like real. Yeah. Stuff.
Completely agreed. It felt more like reality. A lot of times we're getting to the point where shows and games do this like, oh, it's bad, but it's not really bad. It's just story bad. It's not like reality bad. And ACO went the reality bad way more than once, where it's just like, yeah, sometimes horrible shit happens and you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
How it works.
Yeah, go look up the clip. I don't want to show it because it's actually pretty fucking spoilery.
It's kind of a big spoiler.
Yeah.
Also, it's one of those moments where if you see the clip, if you haven't played the game, you're going to be losing out on a big part of the game.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to show it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason you don't want to see that clip. It's also main story related.
I'm also thinking about the ending of that game, and I'm kind of sad now. Like, I remember how sad the end of that game was. Or bittersweet maybe is
bittersweet.
Bittersweet. Yeah. And it's cool also that game's getting support in terms of like the stuff they're doing weekly, like the Anubis challenges and stuff like that.
Oh, the god fights and stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
One thing I did not like about the game, and I regret every fucking time I pulled out my horse, was buying a unicorn. Having a unicorn in that game completely ruined any sense of immersion or being in that world, because it's like, oh, hold on, let me call my unicorn, and then a fucking giant white unicorn with a giant horn sticking off his fucking head would ride and pick me up and had sparkles flowing behind him. and it kind of killed the thing for me. But anyways,
Now you know how I felt about that Mega Man being in Monster Hunter, right?
oh yeah.
Or it just pulls you right out of any immersion that you might have had.
Yep.
Come on.
All right, so that was number 7. My number 6 game we've talked about on the show a bit before. I was hyped going into it, but it says a lot that I sat there and played through the entire game for complete story purposes. It was my, was it? Yeah, it was. It was my best story of 2017. It would have been higher up the list, but there were some other, it was a great year. There were some other games that came out that pushed it down. My number 6 game of the year was Horizon, without a doubt. We've kind of talked about it a lot, so I'm not sure if there's anything else to say. But I'm kind of starting to think like maybe I should play that DLC off stream. The more I've talked about it, when we had Adam
on stream.
Maybe, yeah. We had Adam on last week, and he was showing the different landscapes through his photo mode stuff. It kind of got me thinking like, man, that game is pretty good. My only caveat with it is and this is a weird caveat, I wish it was 60 FPS because I feel like that game would be so much better if it just ran at 60. So, yeah, I won't spend too much time talking about it, but that was my number 6 was Horizon Zero Dawn. Co, your number 6 game of the year.
My 6th game of the year actually won in one of the previous specialized categories. And this game I was actually kind of surprised because this game, I finished this game in a few days, and I really, really enjoyed it. However, it seemed like a lot of people had an issue with the gameplay itself. And weirdly enough, because I finished before all these people started saying their issues, I didn't have any issues with the gameplay. In fact, I loved the gameplay, which is the reason it's my 6th game of the year. Wolfenstein 2, man. I loved it. I mean, I thought the characters were phenomenal. I enjoyed the gameplay, which is apparently bucking the trend. The level design was second to none. Let me just go ahead and say that. The sub, and you could walk around the sub, and every square inch of that sub was lived in. It had a personal touch. Some of the rooms you'd go into, like every single bit of it would be covered in detail and lived inness. And like you could tell that this was a place people lived. It wasn't just some environment that was set up for us to walk through like a museum and look at stuff. This was a place people were living. And tie that into the extremely realistic environments, the very interesting new weapons, the fights, the music, the characters and the cutscenes, which were, again, that was second to none. There were times that I was watching the cutscenes of this game, and I shit you not, I felt like I was watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. Yeah. Like in terms of the pacing, the dialogue, what was going on. There's one scene in particular where the lead character meets this like Southern preacher character for the first time, and they're having this epic discussion while other people are fighting Nazis behind you, and there's music going on, and there's bullets flying while these two guys are just having a casual discussion. It's an incredible scene. This is the kind of stuff that makes movies. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, dude. Machine Games, the people that make this, they've been one of my favorite developers for a while, and it's the kind of thing where I can't wait to see what else they come up with. Because yeah, I love the game, and I think it really sets the bar in terms of a movie experience that is in a game.
Yeah.
And yeah, and by the way, I see chat saying this. A lot of people didn't like this game. A lot of people thought that it wasn't great and that it didn't meet expectations. But you know what? My opinion is, I had a great time. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Totally. That's cool to disagree, and I appreciate if people want to disagree. That's fantastic. This is a damn awesome game. Yeah.
I feel like for me and Zeke, we're like-minded in this sense. This game, for at least me, Zeke, feel free to, I don't want to put words in your mouth. If I could have watched the cutscenes of this game and never have actually played it, I would have thought this game was much better. But it would have been a game. Like, it would have been a game at that point. So I
hear that from so many people, but I had a great time playing it. Like, yeah. I don't know why my experience was so different from everyone else, but I mean, I played on the hardest difficulty, and some of the scenes were really difficult. But I mean, it was a great time the whole time.
I played...
There were a few parts that were so difficult it was frustrating.
Yeah.
That happens in any play on the hardest difficulty. So
yeah, I think I played on normal, and I think Zeke played on easiest. But like for me, it was... We didn't have a category for best moments. This game had multiple best moments of the year in the story without a doubt. There are things that happen in this game that I will not even approach on any level in terms of spoiling them, but they happen and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on? And then another thing happens. You're just like, what the fuck is going on? And it keeps doing that multiple times. And that was awesome. But everything outside of that, it actually kept it off my list. And also I wanted to put it in there for best story, but the gameplay for me was just too much of a negative for it. But
I hear you. And just so people have like an alternate, like if you notice this, so what I'm doing now in this clip you're watching, this is optional side content.
Right.
I was having so much fun with the game. I went into the side missions and was doing those just because I wanted to, because I had fun doing them. So I completely understand that probably like 60 to 70% of the people that played this game didn't like the gameplay. But if you are just like a straight up like Doom style first person, just blast every shit in your way with crazy cool weaponry kind of thing, I think you'll still have fun with this. It's a little bland and generic. I mean, like any first person shooter.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. Like I still had a great time with it. So.
Yeah. If you haven't touched this game and you haven't seen anything of this game, go watch someone play the first 5 minutes of it. And you'll know if it's a game for you within the first 5. And I'm not being sarcastic.
Really
the
good way to say
first
it.
5 minutes of the game, I'm actually going to pull away from this, are very telling of the entire rest of the game. So I'm glad that it's on someone's list because I think it's worth talking about it because it does have the best moments of 2017 without a doubt. But the gameplay and everything else detracted from me. So
I will say that I am not sad at all. I do not feel like I missed out on anything by playing it on the super easiest difficulty. It's even on the super easiest difficulty, it is really, really, really repetitive. It's a shooter.
it is.
Shoot thing.
Yeah.
Shoot things over and over again.
Other Wolfenstein, if you played that one, they're very similar in terms of corridor shooting, point A to point B, just kill everything on the way and get a few collectibles if you want to. You don't even need to. But yeah.
But for me personally, I like first person games if they have variety of things you can do. Like that's why BioShock is always something I mention because you have guns, but you also have the plasmids that give you like magic shit you can do.
And that's
like
probably
all
why
kinds of stuff.
Already made your list, right?
Yeah, exactly. I will say that there's absolutely no question in my mind that this, like the cutscenes are just stellar. They're fucking fantastic.
They're great.
I just let you know, if you want a good story and you're not a huge shooter fan, I would still recommend this game, but definitely play it on the easiest difficulty. And the reason why I wouldn't suggest just watching the cutscenes is because walking around during the non-shooty times, you pick up a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool story elements, walking around the sub, walking around during like when it's the celebration day, I can't remember what the actual celebration is. Yeah. Walking around and listening to all the conversations and stuff is super satisfying. And I blew through the game gameplay wise and still had a fucking great time.
Yeah, I agree.
And not only that, and if you do play on the easiest difficulty, which by the way, I would strongly recommend if you don't like the gameplay, and this is coming from someone who played on the hardest, like casual is the way to go. If that's not your thing. But even just playing the levels, like the level design and the levels you play through, like you go to a different planet at one point, like there's all sorts of crazy shit that happens just as you're moving through the game. So if you want to make the whole gameplay section just like an afterthought, it's easy to do and it's worth it because the cutscenes are incredible. They are incredible. There's no other game this year that comes anywhere close to the cutscenes in Wolfenstein 2.
I would agree.
Feels like a movie. So yeah, it's awesome.
I would agree. Zeke, you're number 6.
Number 6 was a game that I kind of was like, oh, I'll play it. It was fun, or it seemed like fun. The first one was fun. I'm gonna play this one. It seemed like fun. It's just, once again, want to reiterate. This is a list of my top 10, meaning how much enjoyment I got out of the games. And this one I played all the way through, and it ticked a lot of boxes for me. Like I said, my number 6 game, Hand of Fate 2. Hand of Fate 2 played like a choose-your-own-adventure game. And the Twitch integration made it so much fun to play, with all the choices and all of the things that the audience could help decide on. The combat system was rudimentary, very simple, but there wasn't too much of it. Like once you got done doing that thing, you go back to the board. You do some chance rolls. You do some gambling. You do some food management, gold management, stuff like that. It's like a board game. It had a lot of really, really cool elements to it, and I had a blast playing through. I beat the game, played through every card. I didn't gold every level, but I did finish the entire game, and it was a ton of fun. And there was also stuff that I didn't realize at the end of the game, that if I had done some things like followed companion storylines, the ending would have had a different outcome. I didn't know that until I got to the ending. It was really cool.
Huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you
But
think
it was a lot? I mean, it's just straightforward. There's nothing really surprising about the game. It's just really, really fun.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about this a little during the proper shows, not the Game of the Year edition, but how did you feel when you got to the end of it about the Twitch integration? And did
That's
you
what I
ever
was gonna
play it
ask.
with and without the Twitch integration? And which do you feel was better?
The Twitch integration is good in that you don't have to obey. The only thing that is forced upon you Twitch-wise is see at the top the A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those are gifts or gifts or whatever they can give you. You have to get those. Like if they vote for plus 10 health, minus 10 health, that kind of stuff, they're minor. They're not game breaking. The other stuff is just you look at percentages that they vote on. And you say, all right, I can choose to go with the top percentage if I want to, but you don't have to as the player.
So, Zeke, a question for you. If someone were to play this game and they have never streamed before, and they load up the game and put in their Twitch account and stream it, and then vote themselves on an alt account in the chat, and there's only one person watching, which is themselves, will those benefits in-game actually change the game and make it that much easier for them? You said it was not that changing, but like, is that something people should do, or is that just way too
You
much
can game
work?
the system.
You can?
You can game the system for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if you see you're going to get a good, like a boon, like a gift, like the chat has said, 70% of people want to give you more health.
Yeah.
You can actually kind of game it in that you can walk. It's just steps that they count. So you can walk to places back. You can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until you get that.
Okay.
I mean, you can game the system if you like. Also, the Twitch integration is sort of customizable as well.
Really?
You can turn off audience voting for certain things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Like I turned off audience voting for like random chance things. Like they could go like it's basically like 3 doors. Which door do you like? With no like, it's just random.
Huh. All right.
And they could vote on that. I took that shit off because who cares?
Right.
It's just
right.
more time wasted.
Cool. Yeah, this is one of those games, or one of those things in games with the Twitch implementation that I just want to see more of, because I think it's a really fucking cool thing, obviously because I'm a streamer. But I want to see more takes on how devs can implement those in games and make them work. And because pretty much every game that it's been in so far, unless I'm mistaken, has been kind of an indie game. I think it would be cool to see some of the big AAA guys throw something like this in there. Granted, it's a lot more investment for them than it is
I don't
for
know
an
if I can actually name a AAA game that has Twitch integration.
I can't either. Probably because it's when we talk about Twitch integration on that scale, it's like $1 million.
There's a lot of games that
integration.
Twitch has pushed
Yeah.
that have Twitch integration. So the line's a little bit blurry.
Yeah. Well, there's no.
Yeah.
It's not like Call of Duty or that type of that. When we say AAA, that's kind of what I'm.
I mean, you could argue that Warframe has Twitch integration.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's still. Then we get into this whole what is indie and what is. Anyways. Yeah. I want to see more of that stuff for sure.
Another show.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to say about the Hand of Fate 2 is there's a lot of reading. There is quite a bit of reading. Not a lot of voice, like almost no voice acting at all. Like the announcer or the dealer is the only person that actually says shit, and that's kind of few and far between when you hit like milestone moments, story moments, whatever.
Yeah.
But the rest is just straight reading. So if you don't like reading, might not like this game.
All right. I'm out.
Yep. That's what you said too. And when I brought it up the first time, you're like,
I remember that.
there's a lot of reading, JP. Like, well, that's it for me then.
Well, we've gotten
Unfortunately.
we've gotten 5 in. Guys, we have an hour left. We've got 5 more to go for each of us, so we're doing perfect on time. You couldn't have
Right.
planned it. We are
right on time.
Perfect.
In that case, I got a piece. I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. Zeke, why don't you talk about your number 5 while he's doing that?
Number 5 game, we've talked about it before. It was on one of my categories. It's didn't rate higher on the list because it had some definite negatives, but the positives were so fucking like mind-blowing and revolutionary in my opinion. My number 5 game, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Okay. I'm glad this is on someone's list.
The graphics, the sound design, the mocap. My God. When it had something, it had it like better than any game this year.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Would you say this would you say this is similar to Wolfenstein, whereas in the gameplay is the worst aspect of it? For you,
it's definitely yes, for sure. I would definitely say that the gameplay, it's not bad. It's just repetitive and nothing you've never done before.
Gotcha.
It's stuff you've done. The enemy design is fucking cool. There's just not enough of them. Like the two guys, like there's this crow looking like, fuck, he looks awesome. Even the regular, like just mobs bad guys, like they look fucking cool.
Yeah.
There's just not a whole bunch of them, not a lot of variety. And the battle is pretty repetitive. I will say it's pretty repetitive. But everything else so much outshines anything that came out this year. It had to be on my list somewhere. And the experience of it, after having played it, it left such a lasting impression. But there was a few things missing, and that's why I didn't rate higher. I mean, if this game had fucking awesome gameplay, it'd be my game of the year, no question.
Yeah. This is one of those games where I feel like it is so unique that I don't know another game that does what this does in a similar fashion at all, from the way that you guys have described it, because I haven't played it. But it just feels like the entire experience is like a one-of-a-kind type deal. And so I really hope that more games approach the types of things that this did in a manner that is like, it seems almost like delicate, and the way that they approached it, from the way that you guys spoke about it and the way that they spoke about it in the documentary at the end, seems like they really took everything and like handcrafted it in almost in one of the more passionate ways I've seen a game do in a very long time.
Yeah. And they handled the sound design is haunting, fantastic, disturbing, annoying at times because I think it's supposed to, it has to, but not so annoying that you want to fucking shut it off. It's annoying in that like this is like a taste, constant voices in your ear.
Yeah,
this is a taste of what it's like to have this condition.
This is also one of those games that I think is really fun to watch people play for the first time, just to see them react to it. That's why when I think we were trying to get Max to play, I guess Max is going to play it. I was really excited for his playthrough, just because watching the two of you react to different things. Granted, you don't have your camera on here, Zeke, but even just like your audio, like, oh fuck, this is fucking terrifying. Shut the fuck up and just like turn it to the side. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it sounds like a very stupid statement to make, so I'm not going to fall into that pitfall. But wear really good headphones when you play this game. Don't use speakers, unless they're like 5.1 type stuff for sure.
Well, not only that, this is one of the few games that I'd say that it is a must watch to watch the part after the game, like about making the game and what it is. This game is, and I have to say, unfortunately, one of the reasons this game didn't make my top 10 was the exact reasons that Zeke was talking about, which was the gameplay, which was too much of an anchor for me. But the rest of it, man, like the stuff this game does that other games haven't done, that they talk about in that part after the game, is incredible. The amount of effort and work they put in, the amount of people they bring in that actually have these disabilities, that talk about how they deal with them, and then you can watch how that directly translates into the game. I almost at times wish they had spent less time on that and more time on making the gameplay interesting and intuitive, because I feel like that I kind of feel the same way about this game as we do Wolfenstein, where it's like there's a part of the game that's
Right.
absolutely incredible, but there's this other part of it that's almost not as good because of it. And but again, this game I'd almost rate less of a game and more of a like an experience. Like you kind of, you know how you go to a museum sometimes and they have things set up to kind of tell you how a certain thing is by experiencing it. Like you can go into a booth and you can hear what it's like to not have good hearing and stuff like that. This game is like that for mental disorders in a lot of ways.
Yep.
And there's pretty much nothing else like it.
I think it's time for your number 5, Co. Sorry for spoilers, by the way. If you haven't played the game, none of that makes sense to anyone, trust me. But if you have, I guess that was spoilery.
Little bit.
Yeah, Co, your number 5.
Okay, my number 5 we've talked about a little bit. I mean, no surprise, this is going to be on my top 10 somewhere. I think we've already pretty much said everything we're going to about it. My number 5 was Horizon Zero Dawn. I loved the game. I thought it was great. Came out of nowhere. You know what? I'm going to say this straight up, and this isn't going to be popular. I'm sorry. The reason this game wasn't higher up my list is because it's a console exclusive.
I knew you were going to say that.
Ooh, good call. That's fair. I think that's fair.
This game would have been higher on my top 10 if I would have been able to play it with a mouse and keyboard on PC. I felt like even though I really liked the game, that I was wrestling with the controls the whole time, especially because I played on the hardest difficulty. There were numerous times that I felt looking around the world that it would have been better at 60 FPS with better graphics. I felt like my experience was stunted because I was forced to experience it through a console. I felt like I had a glass that I was looking at the game through, and I felt that because I was forced to look at it through a console, that glass was cloudy, and then I didn't get to see what this game could have been. So I hate to say it, but don't get me wrong, it's an amazing game, and I had a great time with it. But there were times when the console clearly couldn't keep up. There were times when 30 FPS was very noticeable. And I hate to say it, but you have to factor that stuff in when you're making a top 10 game of the year. So
now, this is the reason why I think that's fair, is because if anything related to the game lessens your enjoyment of the game, even a thought that this is console only, goddamn, I wish it was on PC. That affects enjoyment of the game. That's why that's a fair thing to say when judging a game.
Yeah, I agree.
The 5th time in a row you die to something because you can't target that specific piece because you're using a controller and you absolutely suck with controllers, which I do. Like the amount that takes away from the game when you're like, I could have done this with a mouse on the first try. Like it just feels like contrived difficulty. And again, this is a 100% personal thing, and it's because I suck with the controller.
And if it doesn't bother you,
and
if it doesn't bother you, then it shouldn't factor in. So shut up.
But
Nice.
yeah, that's how. And now again, the game was great. The gameplay's cool. The combat's fun. I do need to mention that a second reason that I feel that this isn't a little bit higher up my list is, and this is again going to be one of those kind of unpopular opinions, but I felt like the gameplay in Horizon Zero Dawn was actually a little one-sided. I mean, basically, you were either picking up objects or you were killing robots. And every time you were killing robots, you were targeting body points and ripping them off. And then if you got to a story section, you started at point A and you worked through that story section to point B. And that's, don't get me wrong, that's cool. It's easy, it's intuitive, and people are used to it. But when you're comparing that to a game like Prey, where you come up to a situation and it's like, okay, what skills do I have? What puzzle things can I do? How do I solve this? How many different ways can I solve this? It really puts into perspective this point A to point B to point C to point D kind of gameplay. So Horizon's a great game, phenomenal story, phenomenal characters, definitely earns a place in the top 10, but let's be honest, it could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot better.
I would agree. My number 5 game of the year, we have not talked about yet, but I think it might pop up on at least one of y'all's list, higher than 5, but we'll have to see. For me, I think these games last year, it was this genre of game was my game of the year with Dark Souls 3. And I did not expect this one to, I wouldn't say replicate, but to take what Dark Souls does and make it enjoyable for me, because not very many other games have done that. There's been a lot of people that have tried, but for me, my top 5 game of the year was Neo. I absolutely loved every part of this game. I I'm watching myself play it right now, and I really wonder if I would have played it in the way that most people played Neo and not have approached it the way that I played Dark Souls with my fucking giant axe for 99% of the game. If I would have enjoyed it the same way, because man, once I got this fucking axe, it felt so good to just walk through a level, find some guy, and just one-shot him with a headshot and move on to the next guy. It almost like playing that way, I think, made the game for me. And there were other things that when I beat this game, I co-100%ed it. There's so many more things to do after you, quote, beat the game that are so much harder challenges. And I just never went back and did them. But like seeing this stuff, you can see my face right now. I'm freaking the fuck out because these guys are just giant monsters that'll fuck your shit up. And it was terrifying when they would spawn. And I remember having so many good moments with this game for sure. Farming the stupid bridge for this axe for like 2 hours was super fun. Getting it and getting better drops, like the loot system in the game was fantastic. That was great. I regret not playing the PC version. Had I gone back,
You still can.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying is like, I wish my first experience was the PC version, but it's not a bad game on console. It did have the FPS version, but I think it would have looked better on PC and played a little bit better. And I had to use I think I played. Was this PS4 only? Was this PS4 game?
It was PS4.
Oh yeah. So I would have preferred to play with a Xbox controller, just like I did with Dark Souls. But yeah, this going through. I remember very early on in the game, the cavern level where you fight the I think it's a bat witch chick, like the third or fourth level. That was the moment in the game where I was just like, this game's fucking awesome. Like getting to that point, fighting her, struggling, getting back to her, and like working my way through the level. I was like, this game's something special. This game's the shit. I love the like side stories or the side missions. The boss designs were great. I love the fact that it became kind of like this, getting involved in the zeitgeist on Twitch, where like I would get to a boss or Lyric or Dan or Co. Someone would get to a boss and they would do it in X tries. And then I would get to the boss and do it in X tries. And then they would all let me know how many tries that streamer took, et cetera, et cetera. That stuff was always fun. Regardless of what side I was on.
For you?
I enjoyed that because it became kind of a competition, right? Like if I got to the ice boss and did in 3 and someone's like, oh man, that took Lyric like 2 hours. I'm like, fuck yeah, it took Lyric 2 hours. I did that in 3. But then I would get to another boss and they'd be like, oh man, Lyric did this in like 2 tries. I've been doing this shit for an hour. So I love that back and forth type stuff. It's one of the few times where I love the back and forth type stuff like that, where it's almost a competition.
So, hold on. I gotta ask something.
Okay.
Because when you were describing this game,
Yes.
and then you said it,
Yeah.
Zeke went, oh, and rolled his eyes. Zeke, why did you do that?
Uh-oh.
No. Oh, no, that wasn't me rolling my eyes. It wasn't a negative thing.
Okay.
Okay. See, I thought you were like, oh, Neo. Like I was going
No. I enjoyed my time with this game. It's just another one of those games where I was like, it's a really good fucking solid game, but nothing really stand out. It's like all above average marks for everything.
Yeah.
But nothing like an 8 to 10 for me.
Part of me hopes that every year there is some form of a Dark Souls game that is on the level of a Dark Souls game that I can play. And that's what Neo was this year for me, without a doubt. I didn't play the Surge from what I watched.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was wondering your thoughts on that.
I don't know if it was the sci-fi or if it was the floatiness or what, but I was just kind of turned off by it. For whatever reason, Neo... Do what?
You're not the only one. A lot of people actually said that.
Neo was closer.
Dark Souls fans said that.
Yeah, Neo was closer to the Dark Souls formula, or at least allowed me to play in a way that was closer to the Dark Souls formula than any other game did. Because I found that fucking stupid axe. And very few people used, like Co, I think you used a spear for your first playthrough. I watched Maximilian dude, he used the twin katanas and he did some like sorcerer mage bullshit. And so like everyone played that game in their own way. I just fucking walked around with a giant two-handed axe and one-shot people with headshots with that overhead swing, and I had a great time doing it. So that's why it was my number 5. I really enjoy that game. It's also funny because this VOD is titled For Honor #ad. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, because this was the game that I played after the fucking horrible For Honor sponsored streams that I had to do.
Which you gotta wash that taste out of your mouth.
Yeah. I mean, we could jump back here. I'm gonna have the saddest fucking look on my face.
Wait a minute, hold on. Are you really gonna have the saddest look on your face? Isn't this when you just were shoving people off and having a blast?
I don't know.
Everybody was getting fucking salty as shit at you.
This is when I was playing. This is when I was playing against Lyric.
Right now too.
Yeah, this is when I was playing against Lyric and them, and it was one of my favorite clips of the entire year, where Lyric was like, "It's JP. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing," and then I throw him off a cliff and end up killing him, and he rages so hard, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Anyways, For Honor's not on my top 10. I'll say that much. Number 4. I think this will probably pop up on both of y'all's list. I don't think it's an outlier at all. It was my best graphics / art direction of the year. But I think like the complete package of Cuphead was not just the art design. It was the music. It was the like super Meat Boy-ish responsive controls that they just fucking nailed. It was the difficulty. It was kind of the range of gameplay of Cuphead, where you would go from like the platforming to the fucking bullet hell stuff, which if a game can convince me that I like bullet hell, then it's done a good job, because I fucking hated those levels. And it also had one of my best and favorite and most memorable things that I've ever done on stream, which was trolling the chat for almost 2 hours about the goddamn dice at the end of the game and saying that they're completely random. Because I was so upset that entire time that it was more fun trolling than it was actually just playing the game for those 2 hours. So
I feel like in Drop Frames Game of the Year 2019, the JP is going to be like, all right, y'all, real talk. That wasn't a troll.
It wasn't a troll for the first 20 or 30 minutes. And then the second that I realized I could, I just kept like jumping immediately. Because chat was getting so frustrated. But
and I got in the chat and I told him, I was like, I beat this game and I know for a fact it's random.
Yeah. He was joining along with it. Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That was also at the end of like, because I did that in 2 streams, and that was at the end of the first day of streaming it for like 7+ hours. And those type of games, streaming and for long amounts of time, are brutal. You get in a mindset of just being a salty ass motherfucker by the end of it. And so it only made sense to end that way. But yeah, memorable boss fights, like holy shit, the flower guy with that stupid shit where he goes like this. I will always remember this motion. It was one of the best motions of the fucking year. King Dice was great. The final boss was awesome. That stupid fucking flying guy where I think it was the robot, which gave me so much goddamn issues. I spent like 2 hours on him. It was super fun. Cuphead was great. It was a fucking fantastic game. I absolutely love that game. So that was my number 4. Co, what is your number 4 game of the year?
Okay, so my number 4 game of the year. I was really hyped for this game when it came out. I was looking forward to it. I played its predecessor before I played it, and I expected that they were going to take it an interesting direction. They not only did that, but then especially towards the end, I was engrossed.
Uh-oh.
And I may have gotten slightly misty-eyed towards the end more than once. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I played it entirely and could easily play it again down the road. And that game was Evil Within 2. I had a great time with it. And I have to say, they definitely went... Here's the thing about Evil Within 2 that really kicked it for me. They took Evil Within 1, which was a corridor horror game. You begin at point A, you go to point B, you go to point C, you're constantly being chased, there's this constant pushing, you're always moving forward. They took that game, and then they injected all of the lore into a semi-open world experience. They took a risk a big risk. And I have to say, not only did it work out, but it was an injection of awesome into this franchise. I loved the semi-open world aspect. I loved being able to choose how I encountered a situation. I loved being able to decide what I was going to do when without being forced down the line. Now, granted, there are parts of the game where you are forced into the corridor, like, point A, point B, point C, but you have to kind of do that for some of the story elements. But the big parts of the game, with all the optional side content and the way that it was done and the world itself and the immersive factor, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I have to say, towards the end of the game, I was not prepared. I mean, I kind of got caught. I kind of started to see what was going on about halfway through. I definitely started to understand it about 3/4 the way through. And even though I knew it was coming, that ending still hit me like a truck. It was a very well made experience, and honestly has me extremely looking forward to a potential third in the series. In my opinion, this is the kind of thing where they easily could have done an Evil Within 2 that was exactly like Evil Within 1. They could have made another corridor shooter. They could have just made money off the franchise. It could have been a shit 6 out of 10 game, and they would have made money on it anyway. Yeah. But instead, they took major risks with it. They changed some of the base gameplay, and frankly, it worked out great. And yeah, I loved every minute of it, and I can't wait for more of it. Had a great time.
This game was kind of fun to watch on Twitch when streamers got early access to it, because I think like Bikeman, and at least Bikeman was one of the first, but there was this weird like buzz going around like, oh no, that game's actually good. Like, this game's actually good. You should probably play this game. And I was really surprised.
I was one of the people that liked the first one. So yeah. I was kind of like, the first was decent. I can't wait for the second. But most people were kind of turned off by the first one. They were expecting a Resident Evil, and instead they got a corridor horror game. And because of the differences in expectations, they didn't get what they were expecting, and therefore didn't really like and was able to appreciate what they got. So I felt like a lot of people kind of wrote this one off. Oh, yeah. It's going to be another one of those. And then they played it and they were like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. So yeah, it was a definite difference of expectations. I came into this game just being like, give me whatever you got, and I'm going to do my best to enjoy it. And I had a great time beginning to end. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. It was real good.
That was a good jump scare moment right there. End on.
One of many.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I liked it. I just couldn't get over the dialogue. It just
was it like just campy?
It was.
There were times it was a little campy.
It was predictable, and it was not very well translated, I want to say.
Makes sense.
In my opinion.
Makes sense.
Gameplay was fun.
All right, Zeke, you're getting number 4, and then we're getting into the top 3. So what's your number 4?
Well, we share the number 4, Mr. JP.
Do
Cuphead.
we really? I was thinking
Cuphead
that was
my number 4.
I was thinking that was going to be higher on your list.
No, Cuphead. Well, yeah. It was. My top 4 were tough. It was tough between all 4 of them. I'm sure. I'm sure everybody had a tough time with the top 4.
Yeah.
But Cuphead had had high marks and everything. It had awesome music, great visuals, and fucking rewarding gameplay. Like, all those 3 things were at least 9s for me. The difficulty made it so much more satisfying to win once you were victorious over the bosses and stuff. I love the music. I love the style. When it was like,
God, this fucking
one of the callbacks for me that was so it was so small, but it was so spot on, was when you go to the pig merchant and you hear him go, "Welcome," in that really weird distorted voice that's so stylistic of the era of cartoons they're trying to emulate, that I was just amazed that they put that in there, and they didn't try to gussy up or make it sound better. It was scratchy.
Dude,
it was far too loud.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to do the no-hit, but yeah.
I'm trying to no-hit this, yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
or get A rank or whatever, or something like that.
Something like that.
But yeah, I even went back and tried to get all the achievements on it and stuff. It was the scratchiness of what was the film
They
Like you
nailed
can
it,
see
man.
it in the background with the like little scratches in the hairs and stuff. The music, I love the music. Especially like when I finally found the last member of the Barbershop Quartet. And the Barbershop Quartet song is fucking amazing. It's just fun. It's straight up fun. I mean, I don't think there's anything in this game that I thought was bullshit or I didn't like it.
Yeah. The thing with this game is when it was first shown, and every time they showed it at E3.
Well, that's what the pacifist run. Sorry, pacifist run.
Right. Every time they showed it at E3 or any of the press events, everyone's words were, "I cannot wait to play that. That game looks fucking great." And when we got the game, I think it delivered on pretty much every single thing that we wanted it to. It had the rage in there. It had everything. It was great. And this is also, we talk a lot about on Drop Frames games that are kind of a rite of passage. I feel like this was kind of one of those games of 2017 where that weekend that it was the first week that it was out, every streamer had a playthrough of this and everyone was talking about, hey, did you see where so-and-so did that boss in X amount of tries or did that level in X amount of tries? And it's one of those times where I probably minded or I probably got upset in the moment, but after the fact, I was glad to know like, hey, Code spent a lot of time on that dragon boss, but you did it in one. And I'm like, you're fucking damn right. But then I spent 2 hours on the fucking robot boss, and Code's like, no, that was no problem. That wasn't hard at all. And Zeke was like, oh, the bullet hills were easy. I was like, fuck you, both.
Wait, JP, that was a boss?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The robot, man, of any of the bosses, I spent the most time on the robot boss, without a doubt. I beat the B boss in one try, the first time I ever saw it. And I know a lot of people.
Oh, I did that one. Yeah. See, and that's funny. It's funny to hear. Like, I did the B in one.
Yeah.
The dragon wasn't too hard, but I spent. I spent so much fucking time on one. I can't remember which bullet hell it was.
Yeah.
I spent so much time
Was
on
it
it. I'm just kidding.
The genie?
Yes.
Was it the genie?
Might have been the genie because the
There was
genie
one
had
of
the.
flame levels that was notoriously bullet helly.
Yeah.
Where the last phase was basically just the guy floating around and putting out like AoE every direction things. And you had to go through the things while you did it.
That's the genie. Yeah.
Oh,
that
was the genie?
Yeah. And then the other crazy thing is to hear that there's like a more difficult version of all the bosses than the ones we played that I didn't even fucking touch. It's just like
I went back and it's you'd be surprised at how much your skill has gotten, or how more advanced your skill has gotten after playing through it once.
Yeah.
You go back. I think I'm on I beat 4 or 5 bosses on the expert mode.
Yeah.
And they're about as hard as facing them on hard the first time.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, but it's super fun.
Makes sense.
Yeah, totally my top 5. Like I could not have it in my top 5.
Hell of a game. All right. We're getting into the top 3s here. I believe that my top 3 games will not be on anyone else's list. So that's my bold-faced claim. Yeah.
All right. Probably not on mine.
Yeah. And I think we might all have very different top 3s here. I would think, but we'll see.
I don't think any of the games that I'm going to mention from here on out are going to be that surprising.
Okay.
I'm actually
the last few years they have been like, I've done indie games the last couple of years, but this year it's pretty straightforward. All right, my number 3 game.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My number 3 game has been mentioned.
PUBG, Mario Rabbids Battlefront. Called it.
That's right. No, wait. You said I could do PUBG for all 3, right?
Yeah. No, that's
My top 3.
it came out. It's coming out. Yeah.
No. Number 3 has been mentioned, and it is probably to this day the best VR experience I've ever had. Resident Evil 7 is my number 3 game. Resident Evil 7 VR was so well done. It touched on every the things that you're scared of, the fears that you have. It had something for everybody's fears, I think, which I think is awesome. The variety of fear, the characters they put in it seemed believably insane. I was scared of them because I know those people in Montana. I know the fucking country bumpkin people. Family and God and that kind of stuff is above everything. And you could probably see them getting a little murdery.
A little murdery.
Yeah,
a good adjective.
A little murdery, and it's
Adverb?
rare when a game actually like makes me sweat and breathe hard. Like I love horror games. I like being, and it wasn't just jump scares, man. It was like I have a terror of swarms of things.
Oh,
And there
yeah.
were swarms of things in this game that were moving and looked real. I hate bugs. Large bugs. I
Yeah.
hate large spiders. I can do. I don't care about spiders. For some reason, spiders don't bother me. Snakes don't bother me. But bugs, especially flying bugs,
Yeah, man.
terrifying to me. And I was, I gotta put it fucking down. I don't usually have to do that. Such good play on fears and fear of the dark, fear of being trapped. So many things that had it going for it. Sound design, enemy, not necessarily enemy design, but adversary design.
What was that, Co?
So good.
Also, it's important to mention fear of having shit pop up in front of your face instantly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's good at that.
I will
Yeah.
always remember there's like a quintessential Resident Evil 7 VR moment that I pretty much would, if they were close to it, because I've watched so many playthroughs, like I said, if they're close to the moment where you're escaping from I think it's the mom, and you're at the bottom of the ladder, and you walk up the ladder and she's at the top. I remember that moment for pretty much every single streamer I watch play. And it always got a response. It always got a fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything type. And I loved it. I loved every second of that.
No.
And I almost worry too, and maybe it's been long enough, but I worry that all the big scares, all the like iconic scares of RE7 VR, I would know that are going to happen. And so maybe I need to wait a long time to forget all that shit, so that whenever I do play it, it's fresh. It's.
By the way,
terrifying.
one thing amazing about this game that you can really see in what we're seeing right now is the fact that anywhere you look, they do an incredible job of having it look like you're shining a flashlight in that direction. So when you're in a dark room, wherever you look, you get that Blair Witch style of you have no idea what's on the periphery of your screen. There could be terrible things there. You can only kind of see clearly what's in the middle of the screen. And when you're in VR doing that, where you have to look at something and you have to understand that maybe just a few degrees to the right could be something else, it's an entirely different feeling, man.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with that.
And there were so many moments in the game where I just stopped dead in my tracks and said, I am not going to look anywhere else but straight ahead right now. I am not going to look anywhere else because I hear it. I know it's there. But if I don't look at it, it doesn't exist.
I said this during Cuphead, but I feel like this game, when it was announced and as it was shown during all the different press conferences, you knew exactly what you were going to get. It came out and you got exactly what they said you were going to. You played the demo and you got exactly more of that demo that you were expecting you were going to get when you played the full game.
The demos were so good too.
Yeah. Well, because this started out as like a test demo that no one knew it was Resident Evil 7 to begin with, when the PSVR was like doing a bunch of different conferences and whatnot. And it was that room demo where the mom stabs you in the leg with the knife that everyone remembers playing or seeing during all the press events. And then when they announced, oh, by the way, that's Resident Evil 7, people lost their fucking minds. So I hope they do another one of these, and I hope it's a VR game, and I hope that I still don't play it, but I want to watch everyone else play it. For sure.
You're one of those people that it's like, I'm glad it exists, but I'm never going to use it.
Yes, exactly. 100%. 100%.
And it's a fantastic game to watch other people play too. I love watching it and going like, oh, it's gonna watch it.
Without it.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
It's a Dark Souls, man. It's
It
one of
really
those
is.
games where it's like, it doesn't matter how many games the streamers played. It doesn't matter how many times you've watched them. You want to watch them play this. Like, it's just good. Like, JP, I can't wait till you inevitably play this game. You're going to eventually. I don't know when. It may be a year. It may be 5 years for some crazy goal you do for charity or something.
How much money?
You will play this game eventually, and I can't wait to see you play it.
I don't want to put it.
How
See,
much
here's the thing, Zeke. I don't want to put a value on it because I know some fucking crazy person out there will meet it. So I'm not going to put a value on it.
No, I could do like the Donald Trump thing. This part.
Yeah.
First time you do this part.
I just saw you
shit
freak
pants.
the fuck out.
Just shit my pants off. They flew off with shit in them.
Yeah. I think if I do play it, because the number is going to have to be so astronomical, it'll 100% be for a charity event. Like I'm
No,
not
that's
going
what I
to
was
take
gonna say.
personal
Like I
money,
could
yeah.
totally like do the Donald Trump offer thing. Like if you play this game, I'll donate $10,000 to charity. But if you don't, I guess they go without JP.
And see, that's crazy because I was going to add 5,000 to that. So that's $15,000 that's not going to hungry children because of JP. That's right. That's it.
People
That's
are gonna make a poster that says like JP hates charity
Yeah, exactly. JP hates starving children.
until he
That's
plays this
exactly
game.
right.
JP hates children.
I was
Just
going to give this to St.
Wolfenstein
Jude,
propaganda
but instead, I
posters.
have this poster saying JP loves cancer in kids. I mean, it's terrible, but I mean that's the world we live in.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be some like astronomical value because I'll milk it as much as I fucking can, but I know whatever that value is, it'll be met because people
Just
like
understand
watching
the day that you do that charity drive and you put that max is the day that me and Zeke are going to drop in and each donate exactly half of your max goal.
We're 5 minutes into it and it's a 24-hour stream. It's like, well, you're playing 24 hours of Resident Evil 7 VR, you fuck.
There you go.
That would suck.
That's
we'll
right.
see.
Cyan Mick. JP had pro-cancer McDaniels. That's right. That's basically honestly, they should change his name to itmeJP. That's right. Exactly. That's exactly what they should do.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
telling you, man, it's terrible what this guy does.
We'll
I
see.
don't even know.
We'll see. It's a new year. It's a new year soon.
That's a horrible UFC name.
All right. Ko, your number 3 game of the year. What is it?
Oh, okay. So now this is where we start getting into interesting territory because when I finished this game, I put both my hands up and said, this is my game of the year. But it was because it was very early. So like a lot of new stuff could happen. And this is a good example of, an early game that was great and so let me talk about why this game got on my list. This game, now I have to be honest, I am biased towards this game because I absolutely love this type of game. And I feel there's not enough of these types of games. And what these types of games are, is they're games that do two things that are very important. They let the player decide how they play the game, and then they present the player with scenarios that then the player has to kind of puzzle themselves around via a variety of stuff that they have chosen in their playthrough. My third game is Prey. And this game, Prey, really kicked it up for me. And that's because I thoroughly enjoyed not only the story, especially the end. In fact, JP, it's really interesting that you said what you did earlier.
Yeah.
Because what happened was when the game ended, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I kind of see where they're going with this. And then the after credit scene happened and I went, Game of the Year!
I remember that.
It was a complete, like I absolutely loved the ending because I felt like, well, we'll talk about this in a second, but I felt like they were threading this into like a new franchise and we were going to see more praise. And this was going to be the beginning of something awesome. And I was really excited. Now, here's where it gets a little bit. Now, before I continue talking, let me just say that everything I've said so far is why Prey is my third position. I had an amazingly fun time playing it. I loved it beginning to end. The ending was phenomenal. And I'm actually halfway through an all-kill playthrough. I did a no-kill playthrough to begin with, 100%. And I'm halfway through an all-kill playthrough. And I'll probably finish it at some point. But here's the thing that makes me not so super happy about this. During this playthrough, I had the extremely awesome opportunity of interviewing, while I was playing the game, the lead designer and studio head of Arcane Studios. These are the guys that not only directed this game, but also the guy that basically not only came up with the game and led the studio, but also made two of the coolest soundtracks in it. He actually made the music in the game, and he was also the studio head.
I remember
Great
that,
dude.
yeah.
So what was really unfortunate is when we did this interview, we talked about how great the game was, where the franchise was going, and how hyped we were about it. And after the interview is when we found out three important things. The game didn't meet sales expectations, and both of those people left the company.
Jeez,
So,
I didn't know that.
Unfortunately, what we've now run into is this really cool, interesting idea of Prey, which, by the way, spoiler alert, this game didn't start as Prey. This game started as a space game by Arcane Studios, And then Bethesda walked up to Arcane Studios, who owned them at the time, and they said, hey, we've got this franchise called Prey. We would like to put Prey into your existing space game if we can do that. And Arcane Studios went, we could make it work. And that's what the new Prey is. That's the new Prey. So that's a lot of people wondered, like, whatever happened to Prey 2? Well, it disappeared. And that's because of a whole bunch of political studio bullshit. Right. But this started as a game that had nothing to do with Prey. Zero. And then they kind of made it into a Prey. Now, here's the thing. If they wouldn't have called this game Prey, if it would have been called something totally different and nothing to do with Prey, it still would be my top third game. It had nothing to do with the franchise. The only reason there's a franchise connection is because Bethesda wanted it, because they owned Arcane Studios at the time. So the game itself is why this game made it on third, which honestly is like the opposite of some of the other games in our top 10s. And I really feel like not only is this game a great example of how to do open world puzzle solving right, but it's a great first person shooter with a variety of enemies, a huge amount of skill customization, tons of different ways to approach problems and solve them, tons of different ways to play the game in general. It's just a very cool sci-fi space station experience in an open world setting where you have all sorts of different ways to solve puzzles. And I loved it. I had a great time with it, beginning to end. I finished the game. I was pretty excited when I finished it. I saw the ending and got even more excited because I thought we were going into Prey 2 and Prey 3 and all these different Preys. Of course, that's a little bit muted now, since of, who knows these days with major franchises dropping like flies left and right because they don't make enough money. But yeah, I'm hoping to see more Prey. It was a fantastic game, and I'll probably even finish my second playthrough at some point in 2018.
And our Arcane Studios pretty solid. Like,
Arcane Studios is solid, and it's still making games. Raphael. Oh, what's up?
I meant, like, aren't the games that Arcane Studios have put out, aren't they all pretty solid games?
The last two games Arcane Studios put out was Prey and Dishonored: Death of the Outsider. And unfortunately, Dishonored: Death of the Outsider was kind of seen as an in-between game, and from what I understand, did not meet sale or critical expectations. So if anything is like what we're expecting, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like they may start putting their money where it's going to make them more money. That being said, Dishonored: Death of the Outsider was definitely a special mention in my top 10. It didn't make the top 10, but it was a great game. And Prey was also a really solid game. But we'll have to see what the studio does moving forward, especially considering the guy that led the studio for 17 years is now gone, and the guy that made Prey is also now gone.
I really enjoyed Prey myself. Like I said, it filled a hole that I've been missing since BioShock, and it had really cool, really good voice acting, a great story throughout, and capped off by a stellar ending, and variety. That's what Wolfenstein was lacking for me. The variety of things you could do as the player. Yeah. Like you could pick that goo gun was fucking awesome. But you could also just use other like more standard weapons, and you could also use magic.
Dude, the glue gun was incredible. Talk about an entire weapon that set a game mechanic. I mean, you could use this to lock down enemies. You could use this to get to areas that you'd never get to before. You could use it to bypass traps. Like the amount of things that you could do with this gun just via creative use of it was completely next level. That's the kind of thing that game companies should be looking at and being like, we need more glue guns in our game. Because that's the kind of
glue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I meant glue, but goo is...
It's fine.
I think it actually was... It may have been called the goo gun. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, it's GLOO.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
I know what it is.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think you do. I think you have an idea of what it might be.
I think it. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna say it. Go ahead.
Here's how we'll start this conversation. If you think of dropped frames and the roles that me, Ko, and Zeke fill, Zeke's the indie guy, Ko's the like PC 90s CRPG style guy, and I kind of play the everyman / Nintendo fanboy. So with that said, this next game, I've played off stream. I played fully on stream, at least towards the quote ending. There's multiple endings in it. It was without a doubt when I looked at a top 10 list, I knew this was going to be top 3. I didn't know where it was going to go. But I'm comfortable with where it's at. Through my entire playthrough of Super Mario Odyssey, there was a smile on my face, which is a rare thing on my stream. To see 10 plus hours of just smile and wonder and just walking around in these fucking crazy worlds. And for Nintendo to go and do what they did with Super Mario Odyssey, it just blew my fucking mind. I think Trihex sold it best when he was on Drop Frames, where he was just, I think he said the game was just pure joy. That's 100% what I got from this game. And the fact that it's portable, it's on the Switch, you could play it on fucking airplanes, is incredible. Watching the speedruns for this game was something that was a nightly occurrence. I would end my stream and immediately go over to Trihex's stream to see what fucking crazy routes he had figured out and all that stuff. I can't wait to watch this be run at a bunch of the different speed events. Just a phenomenal game. I loved every single moment of it. And
this is a game that.
Yeah. No.
This is a game that I will. I played a minimal amount of time on, and it didn't appeal to me. Like I hazard to say like I might have outgrown it. I don't fucking know, but it's a game that I will watch speedrunners play because the movement in it is so goddamn amazing. To watch people put these move sets together to get to places and move throughout the level so quickly, it is a sight, and it is so much fun to watch.
Yeah, like watching me right now after watching Trihex for so many other speedrunners, it's like watching a kid like learn to walk for the first time. Like, this is bad gameplay in Mario standards for a lot of the other things that I watched. The other thing that I think this game did or does very, 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 very well is this idea of like constant gratification of just every single thing you do in this game, you're rewarded for it. You're rewarded for carrying around this stupid fucking golden apple for some reason. I don't know why I picked that up, but I'm going to go figure out where it's supposed to go. And you'll get a shine for it. Like, I think there's like plus 1,000 plus different shrines or shines in this or some stupid crazy shit where it's just nonstop things you can do. And the entire time it was super fun. You can go back to levels after you beat them and new things are unlocked. Like that type of shit is what I'm all about. And for me to play a game off stream, it takes a lot. And for me to play a game like this, single player, where there's not a like a race to be the best at it, because I wasn't speedrunning or anything, says a lot as well. So that's why Mario was my number 3. My number 2, I don't think will surprise anyone. And again, I fill the void of being the Nintendo fanboy. It's Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I feel like I'm talking to myself when I talk about this game on this show. And I felt that way when I talked about it earlier in the year. So I'll keep it short. This game made me enjoy games again, without a doubt. I will be that bold and say that comment. I could not agree vehemently or could not disagree more than I do with the two of you in terms of talking about this game, but I totally respect y'all's opinion, and I totally respect everyone else's opinion about it. Breath of the Wild was a breath of fresh air for me, man. It was just a phenomenal game.
Tell me why it's okay.
Real quick.
Did you okay? If you
While
say
you're
real
responding
quick,
to
make
Z-
it quick.
Can we just 3 words real quick in chat?
Do it.
Boo this man.
What's your question, Zeke?
My question is, have you liked every Zelda for the most part up till now?
No, Skyward Sword was fucking abysmal. That was a bad fucking game. I hated Wind Waker.
Okay.
I didn't hate Wind Waker. I didn't play Wind Waker.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time is probably like, in terms of a perfect game, that might be a perfect game. That was kind of my younger childhood.
We agree on this.
Yeah.
We agree on that. Now, what made this game so enjoyable to you? And I would never shit on your opinion, and I'm glad you don't shit on mine. because that's just petty and it's worthless to shit on people's opinions.
I feel like this is going somewhere, but go ahead.
No. I just want.
JP, we call this
like,
the setup.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Because you're obviously not alone in fucking loving this game. I look for like innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this game had a lot of innovation?
I feel like yes, but with the caveat of it had innovation for Zelda, not for video games.
Nailed it.
Okay.
But the innovation for Zelda, like I haven't played or watched this game in about 6-8 months. And watching me play this right now, just seeing this shit, I'm actually getting fucking chills all over again because I enjoyed it that much. But the things that have happened in this game, the systems in this game, the fact that Nintendo thought of like random things that, you know, you would think like, oh, I wonder if I could do this. Of course not. That's not a thing. And then you would try it and it would work. That type of stuff was like, blew my fucking mind. And it was cool to walk around with kind of like childlike wonderment of just like grabbing something and having it work the way physics, you would expect that to work in a way. And it's not like a mind-blowing thing for games to do that. But for Zelda to do that, I think it was phenomenal.
What gives you chills?
I'm doing a little bit of spoilers.
I think that JP just nailed the two major different perspectives of this game. There are the people like me and Yuzi that look at this as a standalone game, and we compare this to Witcher 3. And we go, this is nothing like that. Like this is like Witcher 3 light. Like there's nothing really new here. This is kind of like whatever. Like it's okay, it's playable, but it's not that fun.
Yeah.
That's our opinion as we look at it a game. But then you can look at this game in a completely different perspective as a Zelda game. And there are tons of new things that have never been done before in any Zelda game that we see in this. And if you're a fan of Zelda and you're looking for just the Zelda game aspect of it, then this is a completely different experience than if you're looking at it as a standalone product to be compared directly with every other product on the market. So, I mean, like I hear JP seeing this and going, this gives me chills. I look at it and I go, what do you mean?
Right.
But I understand why as a Zelda fan that JP absolutely loves it. So this is one of the more polarizing games we've seen in recent history in terms of franchise perspective and gameplay perspective. And the problem is neither side is wrong. Like it's just like, which way do you want to look at it? It's totally up to the eye of the beholder. Like there's no right answer. So
yeah.
And here's the thing. No, it's not making huge gameplay progresses. If you're looking at it from our perspective, we're right. But also, guess what? There's never been a Zelda game like this before, and it's doing things that push the Zelda franchise forward by light years in some cases.
Yeah,
that perspective's right too. So,
it's honestly a weird game to look at to take away like the nostalgia lens. It is a weird game that looks almost early access in a way with everything that's in it, but there is like depth. You just kind of like, it's hard to show that when you first look at it. It's a weird thing to talk about, but the game doesn't look like anything special, especially because it's on the fucking Switch and they're pushing as much as they can out of this hardware with this stuff. But it's not doing anything like incredible, like you said. But you throw in nostalgia in there, you throw in like Legend of, like the fucking the song of Zelda is in this goddamn game for no more than 5 minutes, maybe. But when you hear that fucking song in the game towards the end of it, I freaked the fuck out. Like the kid in me lost his goddamn mind. And so for that to take effect, I think nostalgia definitely does have to come into play for that. But it also just speaks to like how important I think Zelda is to me as someone who plays games. That if you don't have that respect or you don't enjoy Zelda the way that I do in that sense, you just won't get that, which I totally understand. But yeah, I don't know. Watching this makes me want to grab the DLC because I haven't looked at this game in a long time. And that's my number 2. I'm nervous as hell to talk about my number 1 because I don't think you guys don't know what it is.
I think your number 2 or your number 1. I think I got it.
Okay. All right. We'll see. Ko, you're number 2.
Okay, so my number 2. Now this is another interesting one because my number 2 when I finished it was not my number 2. However, I finished it for a second time in a year, and it became my number 2. And that's because I realized at the end of my second playthrough that I enjoyed playing it just as much, if not more, the second time than I did the first time. My number 2 game of the year is Neo. And that's because Neo, I feel, not only took the Souls-like algorithm and kind of grew it out, but it added so many fun and interesting things to the Souls-like genre that I absolutely loved it. It was a great combination of Dark Souls 3 style direct gameplay, where it's just like you have your character, you hit these buttons to attack, and you have to figure out what to do. It took that kind of mechanism and then it combined it with, all of a sudden you have all these stances and you have a Diablo-style random inventory and item system, and you've got all these spirits that play into that, and what's your build going to be like? And it took these two worlds of like the Ninja Gaiden and the Dark Souls, and it jammed them together into something that I feel is absolutely beautiful. I really, really hope we see a Neo 2 and a Neo 3 down the road, because I got to say, I played through this game with a spear. It was a absolute blast. I played through this game again with an Odachi, which is the giant sword you're seeing now. It was almost a different gameplay experience, had just as much fun. Played through all the DLC. The DLC bosses in Neo are some of the hardest bosses I have ever fought in any game at the level that I did them. And you got to respect that. You got to like, and it's not like cheap hardness. They were just straight up difficult fights. So yeah, I really enjoyed Neo. I 100%ed it. I played it again. I played it through the DLC. I played it on PS4 and PC. The PC version was better. It had higher frame rate. It barely ever crashed. It had full controller support. I loved it the whole time. And I am really looking forward to hopefully a Neo 2 or 3 in the future. Because yeah, it's a fantastic Souls-like franchise.
Yeah, I'm watching you. I've never seen someone play with this type of weapon before, and it looks completely different from my playthrough, and it looks like a lot of fun.
This weapon, the Odachi, they added it in the DLC. It is a two-handed, heavy-hitting weapon, but here's the thing. A lot of the combos of this weapon play off changing stance during the attacks. So it added this whole different element of having to know, like, okay, when I start in this stance, I'm going to end in this stance. If I keep the combo going in that stance, I can go back to mid stance, which then I can chain back into low stance, and I can start my combo again over if I key pulse when my endurance is high enough during the second hit of the third stance. Like it became this point where you're like almost dancing through the combat. You're having to hit the timing exactly through this like multi-stage combos. It became extremely interesting because there got to a point where I was just figuring out like, hey, let's see what combos use how much stamina. Let me get the proper gear so I'm using the proper stamina so I can get the attacks right, so I can do the combos that I want to do without exhausting my stamina, so I don't have to key pulse at the wrong times.
Right.
And this is all just because the build that I picked. You could have done completely different things if you wanted. So it was a very fun, complex, difficult experience that I had a great time feeling my way through. And honestly, I don't see a third playthrough out of the cards. Like, I had such a good time with both the playthroughs I did that if they release another DLC or if they give me a reason to keep playing, I probably will.
Yeah. This is actually the cave. Is this like a DLC mission to go back to this cave? Because this is the cave I was talking about.
I'm playing through the main story again, most likely.
Oh, okay. This is the beginning of the game. Oh, you're only level 17. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And this is actually the level we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I had forgotten one of my favorite things about Neo that I completely forgot about. Nice. Was the
you didn't see that, by the way. It didn't happen.
Whoops.
Was the idea that you could walk up and see people's graves and then fight them for their weapons. Like, I farmed that bridge for people's weapons for the longest time, and it was super cool. I had forgotten about that.
Keep in mind right now, I'm walking behind an incredibly difficult enemy. And
I know.
If I run for a fraction of a second, that guy's going to turn around and just destroy me.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, that's the Cyclops that JP was showing earlier.
Yep.
Because Neo was your number 9.
Let's go back to it. Was 5. It was 5. Yeah.
5. Okay.
Yeah. Neo's a fantastic fucking game. I kind of want to go back and play the PC version someday with all the DLC because I haven't touched it. So
what I got to say, though, is it's pretty wild because I was kind of like somewhat making my top 10 list throughout the year. And for the longest time, both Prey and Horizon were above Neo. And it took playing it a second time for me to realize, like, this is something special. Like, when I finished my second playthrough and just kind of, it dawned on me that I just had an incredibly fun time playing the game a second time in the same year it was released. That speaks a lot to a game. There's not a lot of games that I could play through 2 times in a year and still have as much fun the second time.
That's true. All right, Zeke, you got number 2, and then you announce your game of the year. So we're getting down to the wire here. What was your second best game of the year?
Well, I gotta say, you'll never see it coming.
Really?
Game of the year, number 2 on the second, hits the second spot, Persona 5.
Wow.
That
came out of nowhere for you, man.
Haven't even beaten the game, and it's your game of the year?
I've been in the game 60 hours, dude. 60 plus hours. It is fucking fantastic. Everything gels well in that game. Music, the story is fun and funny. The voice acting is fun and funny. The fucking action is turn-based, which always appeals to me. Turn-based always appeals to me. Because then you can sit there and fucking torture yourself. Or like, okay, let me see. I'm gonna do this. No, I'm gonna do that. I better. Oh, God damn it.
I really gotta show.
I love it.
I gotta find the tweet of you saying, "Hey, should I play Persona 4?" from like 2 weeks ago. Hey guys, would I enjoy Persona 4 from those that watch what I stream? And now it's your second best game of the year. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. And I'm not even halfway. I'm not even halfway through it. And I've had so much fun up till now. I don't know if that's okay to do. I don't give a fuck.
What? Go back?
If it's okay to put a game so high on my list that I haven't beaten yet.
Of course it is.
Totally fine.
You can play a game for 5 minutes, and if you enjoyed it enough, it could be your top game. This is your list, dude.
Yeah.
Of course it's okay.
But I've played enough of it, and I've seen enough of it, and it keeps me interested. There's so many things it has going for it. It has style for fucking days. It has the most fun to look at UI of any game I've ever played. When you're in the menu systems, it's fun to navigate the menu system because it looks so good. Like when you go to the fucking pause screen, when you press triangle, you see your character, Joker, go and put his hand on the screen to go to the fucking menu, dude. Just to go to the menu screen. The animated parts are fucking phenomenal. The actual anime parts are fucking phenomenal. They're fun to watch. It's there's some goofy shit because you're playing high school kids, and it's because it's anime. Yeah. Like the cat bus, cat car, cat truck, whatever it's called, whatever you wanted term you want to put to it.
That is a weird thing. Hey, climb inside of me and we'll go driving.
But you also have
my Saturday night game.
Like Adam Koble was saying, once you start getting sick of like, okay, I don't want to do this kind of thing anymore. The game kind of like knows that. It's like, oh, okay, you don't want any more dialogue. You've been dialogued out. Let's go to a palace and just fight shit, brainlessly fight shit for a while. All right, done with the palace. Let's go do some time management shit. Okay. And every time you go to a new screen, another killer fucking song comes on that you just fucking can't help but hum along to.
Oh, man. I feel like you've grown as a person over the past year, Zeke. Because when I introduced Persona to you, you were just like, nah, no fucking way would I ever play that game. And here we are in December of 2017, and it's your second best game of the year.
Didn't know. Hey, listen, I'm trying. I'm with Co. I'm trying my anime vegetables. I'm like, I don't like it. You haven't tried it yet. Try them. But I know I won't. This is good.
Man. Man.
It is really, really good.
That blows my mind.
And the voice acting, like, I did all English voice acting. And it's
great.
Good. It's really good.
Yeah. I think that game would have been it was my number 10. That game would have been much higher on my list had I just played it more, I bet. But I felt bad about only playing 17 hours and putting it any higher. because I was afraid to stream it when the game was announced. And I think that was I still think it's one of the. That might actually be a bigger disappointment than Destiny 2 this year when they said you couldn't fucking stream this game past a certain point.
Yeah.
It was so
Right,
stupid.
yeah.
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
But
this is the one and only game that I think I've created I had to put in a specific emote.
yeah.
Like I've never like felt there was a game that I was like, nah, I probably won't play it anymore, so don't bother with the emote. I've still got like, I don't know, 60, 70 plus hours left
Yeah.
to play this game. And honestly, I didn't see it coming. Someone just said like, it was on so many top 10 lists for different reasons.
Yeah.
And I went, if I'm going to have a rounded out top 10 list, I have to give this a chance. And then I can shit on it.
If we had a category of like,
That's what I should have done. Zeke.
if we had categories for this year where it was games I wish I would have played, this would have been number 1, Nier would have been number 2, and number 3 would have been Divinity Original Sin. Like I feel
let's do that category next year, please.
Yeah, I feel like that needs to be a category next year. Is games I wish I would have played for sure.
That's a good one, yeah, for sure.
I feel like I missed out on all
Darkwood.
this. Yeah, Dark would go on that list for you for sure.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
Persona 5.
like even if you don't like, I just want one final thing. Even if you don't think you're a weeb or don't like anime or whatever you want to say, I would definitely give it a shot because the sight and the sound is phenomenal in this game. The sights and sounds, a treat for your eyes and ears, for sure.
We said this last week when we had Adam on. Like, this is a JRPG, but it's of a different vein. Like, there's JRPGs, and then there's like Persona JRPGs. Like, they're very different from one another. So, take that how you want to.
And there's surprisingly little like fan service tropes. There's a little bit of it, but it doesn't go deep on the fan service trope.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I think the fans do the fan service for themselves, if you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying.
So the hot punk rock doctor, best waifu.
Mm-hmm.
Best waifu, number 1 waifu, hot punk rock doctor.
Yeah.
Best waifu. No debate. This is not opinion. This is fact.
All right. Okay.
No debate.
All right.
I will not allow debate.
Gentlemen, it's time for Game of the Years. I'm glad I'm going last because I might just say it and then end the show. Zeke,
I know what it is, GP. I know what it is.
I would be surprised if you did.
I don't. I thought it was going to be Zelda, so I'm pleasantly surprised regardless.
Zeke, do the honors. We'll just go in rotation. You go first.
Number 1 game of the year. It had everything. It had story. It had gameplay. It had environment. It had an impact both emotionally, visually, audibly. 10 out of 10 for me. And the difficulty, selecting the difficulty, it was fucking difficult, which doesn't happen like sometimes in games. When they say hard, it's not super hard. This game was super hard, and it was satisfying to win when you did win. My game of the year, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Kind of
Had
saw that
everything.
coming. Yeah, you were pretty into that.
Good choice, man.
Story,
When I finished
gameplay,
Horizon the first time, I said it was my game of the year at the time. I feel you, man.
Yep.
Do you?
voice acting.
So, because I would pull up footage, but you didn't stream this game. Do you feel like that? Serious question. Do you feel like that made the game better because you got to experience it 100% for yourself?
Persona 5 would not be as high on the list if I didn't stream it. Horizon Zero Dawn would be lower on the list if I did stream it.
It's an interesting thing
Because
to think about.
Horizon, I loved wandering and doing random shit and not feeling like
The pressure, yeah.
the pressure to keep going forward. I did a lot of like training missions way too early in the game, and I spent like 4 and 5 hours trying to do one like hunt or whatever those little spots were, those hunting missions
Yeah, I know
that
what
you
you're
would
talking
do
about. Yeah.
to get medallions
A hunt
or
mission,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I went way too early to one of them and just spent hours and hours and hours on it and got it finally, not realizing that I could have done that way later and it would have been 10 times fucking easier. But I'm stubborn, so I kept doing it.
So
kept doing it over and over. And
well, go ahead.
Oh
no, by all means.
And realizing right when I started facing my first real mob, bad guy mob, robot, and him going, Shra! Dead. I went, wait a minute, what? That first fight one-shot me. What? Really? And then I came back and I got a couple of hits. One shot again, I went, okay, so this is how we're going to do this. All right. Sounds great. I fell immediately in love with Aloy. I loved Aloy.
She's pretty good character.
Such a good character.
Probably one of the best characters of the year.
Oh yeah, like after Senua, Aloy, like I don't think I had a character besides them two that was even close to those. Like they were vying for like best performance, best character of the year for me. Aloy was awesome. The facial, what do we call that? No, it wasn't mocap, but it was.
Let's just call it face mapping. It's actually motion capture.
Yeah.
It wasn't motion capture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it was really, really good, and that's what I fucking wanted from day one from Mass Effect. Was something that Horizon had.
Right.
It didn't factor in that it was console only for me. It didn't factor in because I enjoyed playing it on my console in bed, like just zoning out and doing it. I like the way the story was piece by piece revealed. It was fantastically engaging once you got there. Also, like we said before, like the tribal stuff between the different factions of the tribes and stuff was great. The scenery, my God, picturesque scenery, just so good. So good you had to stop. You like even not streaming it. I stopped and just moved the camera around and just looked at everything. I love the sneaking mechanic.
Whoa, that's saying a lot.
I was so happy that I could sneak because I'm not good like action. Like you've seen me play Dark Souls. I play mages for a reason because me dodging and rolling and shit I'm not super great at. But I can sneak. I am patient. And that's another reason why it was good for me not streaming it because I took painfully long time sneaking around and sniping and, doing the stabby moves.
I was going to I was going to shit on your pick with a Zelda comment, but instead I'm going to say this. I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn less because I played Zelda before. I think if I would have played Horizon Zero Dawn first, I would have enjoyed it more and then have gone and played Zelda and potentially enjoyed Zelda less because of that. What I was originally going to say is Horizon Zero Dawn is a poor man's Zelda, which is going to trigger a lot of people. But I really, truly feel it sucks that those games came out right on the same time. It really does suck.
Did you mention the story of Zelda once when you were talking about it?
Not at all. And I will concede that point without a doubt. The story was not. It wasn't.
We're gonna let that comment go, JP.
I know that's why I said it the way I said it without a doubt.
We're just gonna
I love it.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. You can call it the poor man's Horizon Zero or poor man's Zelda if you want to.
Well, technically, it would actually be the rich man's because the PS4 is more expensive than the Switch and looks better than Zelda. So, yeah.
I will fly out to Texas and fight. Are we going to have to do this?
No, but this is in favor of his Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a nod in a positive light, saying it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once again, just to sum up, I don't think there was anything in Horizon Zero Dawn that was something I could point to that was negative. That was that I can remember going, fuck, I hated that. I don't think there was anything in the game that I could point to and say that.
I had one of those dumb streamer moments in Horizon Zero Dawn. It was when you first get to the area where it's one of those like hunting ground areas, and you're supposed to shoot the wood so that it falls down on the mobs below it or whatever. And I had no idea that you had to shoot the actual wood because it wasn't like blinking or anything. So that's my only caveat with Horizon Zero Dawn that I didn't really like was that.
Don't feel bad. I did the same thing.
Yeah, I sat there for at least 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like fucking hacking away with the goddamn blade, and like nothing would trigger the wood to fall. It's like, oh, you just shoot the back of the wood and it'll fall down. I'm like, fucking Christ.
And then after playing with it for 15 minutes, you restart the mission and they're like, shoot the wood to progress. And you're just like,
Yes. Yeah. All right, Co, your game of the year. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised.
Okay.
I think we could all say it
now
in
here's
unison,
the thing.
but
Here's
go ahead.
important with game of the year that you understand that this is more about like how much time you put in. So I put 300 hours into this game. I know this isn't going to be a popular one. It basically held my channel for February and March. And my game of the year was PlayerUnknown's Divinity Original Sin 2. And
Yes!
I think,
Aw.
yes. And okay, Divinity Original Sin 2 is my game of the year. So here's the deal. Divinity Original Sin 2 is, oh, it's so good. There's really like, it's the kind of thing where if you're into this kind of thing, I don't need to say a word to you.
Right.
If you're not into this kind of thing, you'll never be into this kind of thing. It's
Perfect way to say it.
such a phenomenal storytelling and world experience. I laughed. Okay, I'm going to sound so dumb right now. I laughed. I cried. I had a phenomenal time. Like seriously, this following the different characters, developing relationships over a 117-hour playthrough. There were times when I felt that it rivaled Witcher 3 in terms of impact and how it treated the character. It was extremely challenging at times and really made you think. The amount of customization you could do to your character over the amount of time was incredible. Towards the end of the game, the way that they do the item system makes it feel like you're working through tiers in an MMO. So you actually feel like you're doing expansions, like as you move through maps. It's an incredibly well-designed game from beginning to end. And if I would recommend that if you like this kind of game, there was one game that you would play this year, it is Divinity Original Sin 2. If you give yourself to this game, you will be heavily rewarded for doing it.
Yeah.
Are you hearing that too?
Yeah, I don't know what that beep is. Is that from...
It's from Co's, like every time he stops speaking.
Oh, I don't know what
I'm
that is.
Were you
Beeping?
hearing it from my end too?
I don't know. I was hearing it. It's not from my end. It's gone now. It's fine.
Okay.
But no, on top of that, there was some incredibly impactful quests. Incredible, like Los's song, as somebody in chat was saying, was just completely next level, completely out of nowhere.
There it is.
It was. Oh, you know what that is? You know what that is?
Something is squealing in your background.
What
And
that is?
it's opening.
That's
up your noise gate.
Consuela.
Oh.
That's
Oh.
Okay.
that's my Roomba.
Oh.
Currently outside cleaning. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll have a talk with her later. But anyway, it's yeah.
Oh,
Back to the game.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Incredible story, incredible characters, voice acted the entire way through. Twist the Act 3 and Act 4, incredible amount of twists and turns. Just had an incredibly good time in this game, and it is honestly by kind of a large margin my game of the year. Also, I need to point out that Larian Studios, the people that make this game, are quickly running up my top list of development firms. Not only is it very clear that, very similar to CD Projekt Red, these devs care more about getting out a quality product and making their fan base happy than they do about making money.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, especially in the age of EA that we live in these days, where it is very clear that companies like EA prioritize money over making gamers happy, it is such a breath of fresh air to have companies like CDPR, Larian Studios, Deck 13, which we can talk about later, that really care about, let's make our players happy first, and then let's worry about making money. It's so clear when you play a game from a developer that has that mindset. It's so incredibly clear. And yeah, it was great.
It's pretty remarkable and impressive that this was a kickstarted game. Like they have set kind of like unrealistic expectations of what to expect from kickstarted games with this. And I haven't even played this game. I can't even say I enjoy this game, but from everyone that has played it to completion, They speak in ways of you would speak of gods. Like, it is a special game, and for it to be a Kickstarter game, that I think is one of the coolest aspects for someone that's never seen it. So I hope we get more games of this scope from that platform for sure.
And dude, JP, I totally feel you. It's the same way that I think a lot of people the same way feel about games is the way they feel about music. Where it's like let's take classical music for instance. I don't listen to classical music really at all, but I respect the hell out of it. I'm glad it's there. It's awesome. I don't listen to it all the time, but classical music's great. I'd say the same thing for a lot of different genres. And I feel the same way about a lot of games that other people play. And a lot of times when people came into our stream and saw Divinity Original Sin 2, they were like, hey, dude, this isn't really my thing. Like, this isn't something I'd play myself, but it's clearly pretty awesome. Like, there's a lot going on here that I like seeing and I like watching. I wouldn't really play it myself, but this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I there's a lot of tangents there you can go through.
Yep. All right.
I'm very interested to know your first game.
My game of the year came out of pretty much nowhere. And I didn't, Zeke, you're so excited for this.
No, I think I know what it is.
Okay.
I think I know what it is.
I mean, to think about this, it literally came out of fucking nowhere, and I did not expect
Guys, it can't be PoE. Calm down, chat.
a game to even exist of its nature, I guess is the best way to say it. I guess I'll just say what it is, and then I'll say why. My game of the year
Real quick, Zeke, do yours first.
was Getting Over It.
Yeah.
Getting Over It is the only game to ever give me a sense, like, my fucking palms are sweating right now thinking about Getting Over It, thinking about my time with Getting Over It. I haven't finished the game because I'm too fucking anxious to go and play it. I have never had a game do that to me in any form at all, ever. And so I think that's only deserving of Game of the Year. I think that it is the quintessential rite of passage for Twitch streamers. I think that every Twitch streamer needs to play that game so their audience can experience themselves just at its core what it is to fail. Like, it is without a doubt the only game to ever evoke those emotions out of me ever. And I think that's the only reason why it's deserving of Game of the Year. It is not a technical marvel. It is not a gorgeous game. Its control scheme is, dare I say, fucking abysmal. It is, without a doubt, nothing in it screams Game of the Year except for the emotions that it evoked from me while playing it. And that is why it's Game of the Year.
Love your choice. I love your choice, JP, because I'm not kidding. I love it because that is the power of an emotional impact on, like, your enjoyment of a game.
Sure.
The lasting memories you have. It's it's like a blind person seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. I fucking don't know.
It's I don't know. I want to go back and finish that game, but the idea of falling down where I am right now from the snake ladder, I am paralyzed with fear of that. I do not want to fall down and have to do all that over again, especially on stream, especially now when, like, people are fucking speedrunning it in 2 minutes or however fast it is. So I don't know if I ever will, but I don't know. Something about playing that game on Twitch just made it something that I will probably never fucking forget. And I don't care if people don't agree with me. Like, it is. I will fight for that choice 100%.
Your top 10 list.
Yeah. Also,
That's what's
what? Yeah, that's what. What'd you say? That's what's
It
important.
doesn't matter if it's wrong. It's your top 10 list.
Yeah. And people are saying I'm trolling. Like, totally not trolling. Without a doubt, I'm not trolling at all.
I was half expecting you to switch it to a different game and say,
No,
haha, gotcha.
If I was trolling, I would have put Path of Exile here, but I stuck to the rules that we agreed to.
Yep.
And, you know, yeah.
I expected it. Now, I will say this: I expected it to see on, or I expected to see it on your list.
Yeah.
I expected that. I didn't think it would be number one. but I expected to see it on your list. And when you revealed Legend of Zelda as your number 2, I immediately went, "Is he really gonna put Getting Over It?"
Here's
Because
honestly,
you could not stop talking about it once you had played it.
I couldn't, man.
It was on your mind consistently after playing it, and I know that feel. Like Senua's Sacrifice had that exact same. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop talking about it and wondering about it.
Yeah.
I get it, man. That's awesome. I'm
It's,
so glad that you actually have feelings.
Thank you. I'm glad you. That's what made you realize it. No, honestly, when I prepared my list, everything got filled in except for number 1, and it was because on that list of games that came out in 2017, Getting Over It was not on there, even though it released. For whatever reason, it was not included on this list of wherever I was looking at it at. And I realized I was like, oh fuck, Getting Over It came out this year. That's number 1. Like that's number 1 without a doubt. If I can't put Path of Exile here, it's number 1.
Just described it like someone who's talking about a wife they've been married to for 50 years. Like, I just knew.
I just knew
it was the one.
I knew. Yeah. I can't watch. Here's how much this game fucked me up. I cannot watch more of this clip or this thing because like the anxiety is coming back from watching it. When I fell down at Oranges, I had like Ko said, I had a pit in my stomach that I don't know. I want to return to the game and finish it, but we'll see.
I would like to mention,
but you never will. Just like I never will, most likely.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually okay with that. It's in some point of me is like, if I go back to that game, it's going to be like one of the hardest experiences to do, which is so stupid to think about. But yeah, it's a hell of a thing. I highly recommend anyone that doubts me to play that game because what you see when you watch that game is not what you get when you play that game. It is a thing. And the other, like, having him talk to you and stuff like that is so fucking brilliant. It's like one of the best trolls, I think, is when you fall down and he just says something like philosophical and you're just like, shut the fuck up, you fucking asshole. I'm gonna fucking kill
The best
you.
part is when you miss and you just hear that in the background.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I believe I called BFOD a perfect asshole.
He really is.
I think that was my description of the developer of this game. Once I fell down and he did some Shakespearean quote about failing or whatever. And I said, this guy is the perfect asshole.
Yeah.
Just, it's an art form. The choices he uses when you fall.
It really is. And so, dude, putting the snake where it's at is like, that's a special kind of asshole. Like, it's such a fucking dick move to where that is so fucking bastardly that it's dare I say perfect in all evil ways of saying that.
Now, I think it's coming to the point where JP can't speak to this.
Yeah.
I know Ko can.
Okay.
And I sort of can. People are up in arms as to why Nier Automata is not on any of our lists.
And I didn't play it.
I can go first. I only beat the game once.
I never played it.
And I didn't care to go back and do the second and third endings. I thought it was a good game. It was I think it tried a little hard in the story department. Just the first playthrough. And this I can only speak to what I've experienced. It seemed to try a little hard in the first playthrough to be weird.
Yeah.
And esoteric. And the gameplay itself wasn't anything that it didn't feel like anything I hadn't done before, like in games previous. So the music was awesome. Definitely, for sure. The fucking soundtrack was like amazingly good. But it didn't give me the experience that other people got from playing it multiple times.
Okay. This is a really good time to mention this because I wanted to have a second to talk about this when we all did our top 10s. This top 10 for me this year was one of the hardest I have made in recent memory. There have been many, many games that deserved a place on all of our lists that didn't make it. Nier is actually the top of my honorable mentions list. The newest South Park. It was a great continuation of more South Park goodness. It was a great game. It was a fantastic game. Observer was an awesome game. A sci-fi first-person adventure. Very unique, a fantastic one. Hellblade didn't make my list. Made Zeke's, though, and that's fantastic because I think it deserved a place in the top 10. Everspace, a fantastic game that came out this year. A sci-fi roguelike space game, one of the best action space games out there. Very under the radar, great game to check out. Cuphead didn't make my list. Made, I think, both of your lists. Fantastic game. The Long Dark released officially this year. Awesome single-player story. Great survival game. One of the arguably best survival games out there. Paradigm didn't make my list. Made other list. Fantastic. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider. A great game. Didn't make it. And finally, The Surge. The Surge was an awesome game. It was really hard not putting it in my top 10 because I not only enjoyed The Surge, but I loved the DLC that was released recently. That would have been basically my 11th. But this year was a great year in gaming. Elix, another great game that never made it. Hollow Knight, I didn't play it, but I know a lot of people did. A fantastic game.
Hollow Knight, I think, was probably the one game that got the most mentions besides Nier of being Game of the Year material. Yeah.
RimWorld, I think, officially released this year, didn't it? If it didn't, it's going to be soon. But I mean, there were so many great releases this year that this was arguably one of the hardest years I've had in making a top 10. So just know that these are the top 10 games that we enjoyed. If your favorite game didn't make it, that's totally cool, man. I mean, if you were here on this show, you would have your game as one, and you know what? We'd be talking about why your reasons are great too.
Yeah.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles in this case. So. Yeah. RimWorld was 2016. Okay, cool.
What were we gonna say, Zeke?
In order, my 11, 12, and 13. My number 13 game was Star Trek Bridge Crew VR. My number 12 game was Nier Automata. And the one that barely didn't make the list is a weird one, but I had so much fun streaming and playing it and getting nostalgia with it, was Emily is Away 2.
Did you talk
Emily is
about
Away 2 was like early 2000 computer simulator game, like when YouTube was just starting to become a huge thing, and it played on all the old AIM shit, AOL Instant Messenger shit.
Okay. I know what game you're talking
about. Remember you talking about
so much fun. Yeah. And just because I'm that age where it appeals to my nostalgia like so much, I had such a blast. Like, oh, I remember this and I remember that. Oh my God, it was so fun.
Did you see AIM shut down for ever? Like 5 or 6 days ago? Was that on the 12th? I think it might have been on the 12th, yeah.
Me and my wife talked so much over AIM when we were first dating. That's like a part of our history leaving.
Ripping.
Like literally, we basically had our courtship over AIM. And now 15 years later, it's shutting down.
Yeah. Ripping.
It's definitely like it's a little bit of our history gone.
Yeah, we'll do
remember
the
your AIM name?
Do what? Oh,
you remember your AIM names?
Oh yeah, no, I have the best one. I'm going last.
Let's go down the list. JP, what was your AIM name?
I had 2. The second one was checked to see if I was blocked by someone, so that's why I had it. It's a classic AIM move. My first AIM name was I Hate AIM Ha, and my alt name was I Hate AIM Heh. Best AIM names. The best AIM names.
That's so perfect. Zeke, what about you? What were your AIM names?
Oh, mine was terrible. I was a kid. Mine was all caps, Poop Face 77.
Poop Face?
Beautiful.
Poop Face 77.
Beautiful.
That's perfect.
My AIM name.
I had 2. The first one was Riptide with 2 R's and 2 T's.
Nice.
And the second, this is the AIM name I used for almost my entire AIM career. The Sketchy.
Nice.
All one word.
I like it. That's very, very AIM.
I love it, dude.
We still got to do a community top 10, and we're running a little bit long. But I will say this to everyone that said, why wasn't PoE on your list? It's because PoE is no longer a game of the year. It's one of my greatest games of all time. That's why it's not on the list.
That's the GOAT right there.
It's the greatest of, well, it's not the GOAT.
What would be fun, JP?
What's that?
Next year, we should do a top 3 games of all time.
That's a big discussion.
I know.
Maybe
but I
like
mean,
middle of the
no,
year
We
or
got
something.
30 minutes left in this episode and we're done. So maybe we'll fill that last 30 next episode with that.
Maybe.
That could be a fun discussion, man.
That's a hell of a conversation. Zeke already knows what, well, I don't know. That's a hell of a conversation. We'll talk about it. I don't know what that would be. Let's do our community top 10.
Community top 10s.
I'll shrink Zeke.
Or top 5.
I guess it's top 5. Yeah, I thought it was top 10. All right. I don't know. I guess this is tied to this key. We'll just go down the list. At number 5, Persona 5. Perfect. Nailed it.
Hey.
Do I have, let me see if
Great
I
one.
have,
Yeah.
let me see if I have, okay, I do
Okay.
have, I got tons of percentages for this. All right, we're going to go down this.
Oh, we're 30 minutes over?
Yeah, we're a little bit over.
Yeah,
Oh.
we've gone 4 hours and 39 minutes.
That's what I was
did
gonna
it
say.
up
We're
there.
gonna go
These
quick.
TY shows are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Quick. Number 4, Nier. There's your Nier chat. Nier Automata.
There's near you got it.
You got it.
You
Number
win.
4.
We're wrong. You win.
Number 3, Breath of the Wild.
Now you're wrong.
Man, if that's number 3, I wonder what 2 and 1 are.
Odyssey.
I didn't
hold on,
realize
hold on.
so many
Let's
people
guess.
could be so wrong.
Before you do it, let's guess. Let's guess.
Well,
I'm saying top 2. I'm saying Odyssey and Horizon.
I'm gonna go with, but this is maybe a little bit meta. If it's community vote, Co's community is the largest out of 3 of ours. A lot of Co's community likes what Co's plays. Divinity Original Sin is
To
their
be
game
fair,
of the year.
though, to be fair, I didn't really push this vote to my community, and I'm sure you did, right?
I mean, I tweeted out on the drop frames. That's where it promoted. So I'm gonna go with.
Divinity be in top 2.
I think Divinity is gonna be game of the year.
I'm going to go with Horizon. I think Horizon's going to be 2.
Okay.
I think it's Odyssey and Horizon.
Number 2, Divinity Original Sin.
Divinity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Horizon going to be 1?
I think Horizon might. I guess it has to be Horizon. I'm gonna hit 1 and see. Yep. Wow.
My people.
Wow.
Nice. Okay, I can get behind that.
First time I've
That's a
agreed with
damn
all
good
of you.
top 5.
I'm gonna pull this this pie chart and show it on stream. It's from Slack, but whatever. Actually, can I download this? Yeah, let's do that.
By the way, I just like to send a personal thank you to everyone who did DOS2. You guys are my people. Thank you.
Nice.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that was my number 1, your number 1, Co, and JP's number 2.
Yeah.
Like, we
As we
agreed.
can see, in the top 5, JP's number 1. Oh,
Yeah. I knew it was gonna be an outlier. How do you zoom in with this fucking? All right. I guess I'll just show this. Hopefully, I'm not showing anything I shouldn't. Here's the pie chart, if that even reads. Horizon had 13% of the vote. Divinity had 10. Breath of the Wild was 8.9. Nier was 8.4. Persona was 7.6. Super Mario was 6.6. Neo 4.3. Assassin's Creed Origins 4.2.
oh, higher for Neo than expected.
Yeah, Cuphead 3.3. Prey 2.9. That's higher than I thought. Wolfenstein was 2.8. Hellblade was 2.4. Resident Evil 7 2.1. South Park.
Now,
Yeah. South Park 2.0, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 1.5, Hollow Knight's there, Destiny 2.
Can you control scroll it?
No, it doesn't work. I don't know how to manipulate Windows 10 thing. Metroid Samus Returns had 0.0%. That must have been like 5 or 10 votes or something.
Oh, how many votes total were there? Did it?
I don't know if I can find out. Let's see. I might have that information somewhere. We'll probably tweet out those pie charts somewhere.
And also, did you guys vote on that? The community one? I did.
I didn't vote. No.
Okay. I voted on that one. I think I probably tipped the scales a little bit.
I think we probably had like,
My 1 votes.
yeah.
I was wondering why Horizon was up there.
Nice. Okay. Reggie says the total number of votes was 2336. I thought that was when I looked at the list. It was much higher than.
2300?
Yeah, 2300. Less than I thought.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more.
Good.
Yeah.
A lot
But
of
yeah,
people.
That's that. The one question I have for Zeke, but I know Co, feel free to say we got to wrap it up because you're the one here with time constraints. South Park wasn't on your list, Zeke. I'm very surprised to see that.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't as good as the first one. The first one left a lasting impression because it was so original and it was so South Park. This one was more of the same, and it didn't have any enough new surprising shit.
Yep.
But how are you gonna top having a fucking battle under your parents having sex? that's gonna be tough to fucking top.
That is true.
Well,
They didn't. They set the
starting
bar
off someone while
pretty
you're stripping
fucking high
after
with
them
them.
underage is close. Wouldn't you agree?
That is true. Yeah, they tried to push the envelope, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, South Park was definitely a good game, but I think they were.
So
Yeah, it
Zeke,
was-
out of your, if you had a top 20, would South Park be
Yeah.
in there?
Yeah, probably.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I can really say is I hope 2018 is as good as it is, or good as 2017 was in games, because we had a lot of fucking good games come out this year.
Read.
Without a doubt. I'm trying to think of like the ones that I'm most looking forward to playing. Monster Hunter, obviously, but that's because it's most recent in memory.
You know what releases before Monster Hunter? That's
that?
finally coming out of early access after years.
What's that?
Freaking Subnautica.
Oh, really? Is the
Subnautica releases fully in the middle of January, and I cannot wait to play that game. Like they've apparently finished it, so it's supposed to be really cool.
is the VR component coming out at the same time?
I have to admit, I tried the VR component when it was available, and it was atrocious. It was one of the only VR experiences that made me sick. But that was the very first VR iteration, so it may be a lot better.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in 2018, you guys. It's, Persona 5 took over Zeke's life. Maybe we can get him on the Kingdom Hearts train. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I fucking seriously doubt that.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's cartoon
Kingdom
shit
Hearts
that I
is
don't
definitely
give
in
a
my
fuck
book
about.
of I have said I've never gonna tried it, but I haven't actually played it. So maybe 2018 will be the year.
Maybe we do. All right. If it happens, if we do a charity thing for me to play Resident Evil 7, maybe we put you to do a franchise playthrough of Kingdom Hearts on that same charity.
Franchise?
Kingdom One, not okay. Mainline Kingdom Hearts, not the entire franchise. It's fucking. That's just murder. That's just. I wouldn't wish that on
There's
anyone.
two of them, right? Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2?
Maybe in mainline, yeah. And not mainline, there's like seven or eight. There's a lot.
No, I just don't give a fuck about Donald or Goofy or any of those fucking guys. Like,
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the show. We're way over. These VODs are gonna take forever to fucking upload. So, thanks everyone so much for coming out. We will be taking next week off because it's 2 days after Christmas, but we will be back on January the 3rd with our first show of 2018. Yeah, I don't know. That's another year. We did it. I liked huge shout out to Daniel, the graphics guy. I liked the graphics this year around. That was cool.
That was really pro today, man. I don't think anything broke once, right?
No,
Like that was awesome.
Disappointed
Great.
was spelled wrong, but that's it. Double checked everything. That's good.
And super glad that you didn't do the same thing as far as like revealing the similar games on the list.
Yeah, I
Much
agree.
This year was a big boost over last year. Like this is a huge step forward. It was very good. It was very good. All
I
around.
still would like to do it in person if it's possible, but this was great.
Yeah, I agree.
As long as I can bring my kid. Fine.
Yeah, shout out to.
Welcome to you, buddy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
that
to go
works.
to, probably makes the most sense to do that. Although I'll be more centrally located, so it won't be that big of a trip a year from now. But we'll see. Huge shout out to my mods as well for handling all the community vote stuff. That was awesome of you guys. We'll probably be tweeting out those pie charts of all the different votes on twitter.com/dropframes. If you want to listen to the iTunes version, the MP3 version of this, that'll be up later tonight/tomorrow. Because we are on iTunes, and if you do download it via iTunes, feel free to drop a review and a comment because that's the best way to support us over there. I think that's it. I think we're good. We got to do some shout outs for you guys, and then we'll wrap up the show. I'm impressed that XSplit didn't crash with the 8 additional scenes. By the way, just so people understand how this stuff works, all of these are tied to key presses on the computer. These are HTML files, so you can just spam them like that. So it's pretty fucking cool that he just made all this stuff. It's pretty cool.
And also, I'm surprised that you didn't like reveal shit too early.
I know I was really
Dude,
worried.
everything worked exactly where it was supposed to. Like so many times you were like, I'm going to press a button. I don't know if it's going to work. And it just worked. And it kept doing that over and over and over.
I was really worried.
I don't think it messed up once, did it?
No, did not. I was really worried.
So CJP, looking back, if you had not been so cautious about it, this would have been the most professional show ever.
I know, because I wouldn't have said anything. Yeah, I know. All right, let's do some shout outs. Zeke, start us off, sir. Watch me fuck these up. Nope, we're good.
Now this is all gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Thank you all very much for watching. I'm glad that I hope you guys had fun. I had a ton of fun. I love talking about video games that I like and shitting on ones that I don't like, and I know you guys do too. But let's keep it civil. I mean, come on, it's just opinions, baby.
All in good fun, man.
It's all in good fun. Absolutely, it's all in good fun. So if you ever get into an argument over which game is better than the other game, don't resort to name calling. That's all I got to say about that. Catch me on my channel, Ezekiel_III, usually at noon Pacific every day. I've been playing Persona 5, but later today, if I get some lunch and get it set up correctly, I'm going to check out Accounting Plus
Oh, nice.
on PSVR, that game by Justin Roiland, voicing, I think he voiced it and scripted it maybe? But it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. But I got to set up my VR and I got to buy it and download it. So it might be a minute if you want to check that out later. But follow me on Twitter as well. It's at Ezekiel_III. And if you want to follow my YouTube, all of my highlights and playthroughs and all that shit all get uploaded to YouTube. Thank you to my mod, Mr. Scott Evans. That's also youtube.com/EzekielIII.
Nice.
All right, that's it. Thank you to Co and JP and to the mods and the designers who made this show fucking awesome.
Zeke, you only have PSVR, right?
No, I have Vive.
All right, I got it.
That's not used for video games.
I got an idea for the third. We'll see if we can pull it off. Nice. I like.
You got
I
an
like
idea for the what?
for the episode on the third.
Okay.
We'll see. Co, do some shout outs.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ko. First of all, for everyone that's been asking the entire show to see it, there it is. There's the tattoo.
Up a little bit.
That's it. That is
Nice.
our coalition tattoo.
Man, you gotta.
Awesome. The guy that did it surpassed expectations a
Yeah, he
million
nailed
percent.
it.
So it's pretty. Anyway, first of all, I want to give a special thank you to JP and Zeke. These Game of the Year shows are some of the most fun times I have on Twitch. It's so great to kind of talk about everything we've played for a year, and it's honestly kind of a rare opportunity. So not only do I thank them for it, but I thank you guys for watching. We have like 18,000 people in here watching this Game of the Year show. It's been a lot of fun talking about this stuff with you. I hope some of our lists mirrored yours, but if they didn't, like Zeke said, you know what? That's okay. It's totally cool. On that note, my name is Ko. Hi. I know I haven't met a lot of you. I stream every single day at 8 a.m. EST. We're currently playing PoE, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We've got a lot of fun coming up. We're going to be playing actually some Planescape Torment soon. We've got Subnautica mid-January, Monster Hunter coming up. A lot of fun stuff happening. So twitch.tv/KoCarnage. Hope to see you there every day at 8 a.m. And as always, thank you for watching. And a big thanks to JP and Zeke. It's been a lot of fun and looking forward to next year already.
Awesome stuff. That's gonna do it for 2017, guys. We will be back, like I said, on January 3rd with more dropped frames. We're out. See you then. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Good job.
It just encompasses all of them.
True. Yes, exactly.